2:27 to go. McNabb dropping. It's intercepted at the 10, to the 20. Going coast to coast. Rodney Barber to the 50, to the 40. Barber to the 30. Nobody's going to touch him. Rodney Barber. 10, 5. The Super Bowl, and they're trying to win it for us. Third down, 18. Dropping Gannon, looking Gannon. Goes up with a head to the side. At the 40. Derek Brooks 30. Brooks to the 29, 20. Derek Brooks all the way. There it is. The dagger's in. We're going to win the Super Bowl. Handoff, Alston over the top. Second effort. He's got it. We think. They think that there it is. A triple triumph. He's tagged at the 41-yard line. That time the blitz pays off. And down and 10. Blitz coming. Tykee flushed it. He's tagged at the 41-yard line. That time the blitz pays off. And Levante David has a quarterback sack. Here's the snap. Play action fake. Brady looking. Throws toward the end zone. Caught ball. Touchdown Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Gronkowski's got 2 today. Chiefs dropping to throw Mahomes. We run a stunt, and we sack him at the 50-yard line. Wow, he's clobbered. Fumble the football, recovered by the line. There's the snap. Mahomes running to his right. Look out, he may run. Mahomes directly. Throw the end down. Batted intercepted. Picked off in the end zone. Bucs are going to beat the Chiefs. We're the champions of the world, and we still have a minute 33 to go. Devin White, what a great second season. Here's the snap. Brady dropping, looking. Brady throws. Caught ball. It's caught. Touchdown Tampa Bay. Rachaad White. Touchdown Buccaneers. Fire the cannons. Bucs tie the game at 16. Down goal to snap. Brady's going to throw. Looking. Throws a dart. It's caught. Touchdown Tampa Bay. Chris Godwin. He makes the catch right beneath the goalpost. Mayfield has time, cocks the arm, runs the ball. He's going to run to the 30. He runs to the 35. He has a first down. Wow. Hippie ankle, bruised ribs. He's got guts. David, 6 guys up front. Bucs dig in, 2-point try. The push. And I don't know if he got it. They have not indicated yet. He did not get it in. In motion, Shepard to the left. We fake the end around, hand the ball off, running to the right. Irving inside the 10 to the 5. 3-2-1. Touchdown Tampa Bay. Bucky Irving takes it to the house. Second down, 10. Rachaad White now in the backfield. Baker Mayfield throws a sideline route outfield. Caught ball to the 5. Touchdown Tampa Bay. Mike Evans does it again. Fire the cannons, Bucs. Here's the snap to Rattler. Here comes pressure. Gets the pass. Near sideline. Incomplete pass. Bucs take the ball away on downs. And now in motion. Mike Evans drifts over to the left slot. Baker Mayfield shotgun. They know what we're going to do. Baker Mayfield looks, throws the ball to caught ball. Evans. He's got it to the 40-yard line. 1,000 plus. Mike Evans. 11 seasons in a row. How about them Buccaneers at 13?
What is going on, Buccaneer Nation? I hope everybody's doing well out there. We have a really good show lined up for you. Hope you guys are watching it on the YouTube, wherever you're watching it. Get your drinks ready. We have a good show lined up. I have a few guests that are going to be strolling through. As always, the man, the myth, the legend, the one and only Leo Haggerty will be joining me in just a bit. We have a good show lined up for you guys. It's mandatory MiniCamp for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So we're going to be talking about that. I'm going to get Leo's input on some stuff. Also, like I said, we got a good show lined up for you guys. We're going to be doing around the NFL on the back end of the show. Might go a little bit late. Don't know yet. But we got some stuff to talk about for everybody out there that has watched me on the sports web Monday, Wednesday with Peter Blake. This is the Frozen Pirate Podcast. This is the show that I'm going to be doing every Thursday right here on the sports web, 7:30. And what to expect, like I said, if you watched me on the sports web, you're going to get real input, real takes, honest opinions, no bullshit, because I'm the captain of this ship. As always, if you guys can't watch the whole show, you can take us on the go. Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcast, we're there. Look us up, subscribe there. Also, go to the YouTube. Watch us on the YouTube. Like and subscribe over there as well. Like I said, on this show, we talk about everything. Also, Frozen Pirate Podcast, we do a thing called Around the NFL where Jamie might jump in, might not, depending on what his daddy duties are. But without further ado, let's bring in the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Leo Haggerty. Leo, how's it going, buddy? How we doing?
Going well, Louie. And like I told the Buccaneer faithful, like Aaron Rodgers said a couple years ago, relax. Everybody
right.
showed up at mandatory minicamp. And let me explain why they do. You missed the first day, $17,000. You missed the second day, $35K. You missed the third day. If you do a trifecta, it's $54,000. Those guys aren't going to lose money unless they are serious.
That's right. I'm going to be talking about that on the back end of the show for Around the NFL. We're going to be, how ironic, Leo, is it that Aaron Rodgers is going to be playing the Jets in a Steelers uniform, and vice versa, Justin Fields will be playing Aaron Rodgers against his former team, the Steelers. I think that's going to be a pretty interesting matchup, to say the least. But we got a lot to talk about, Leo. Mandatory minicamp's here. Somebody showed up. Haason Reddick was there.
What a surprise, right, Louis?
That's right. He was there.
Hey, you hit somebody in the wallet, they're going to show up. And
oh, absolutely. I had a
nice lunch today with Roy Cummings and Ira Kaufman. Ira Kaufman is the Hall of Fame voter for Tampa Bay.
Right.
And the conversation started out with, this is a really good football team. It's not a great football team, but it's a really good football team. I said, guys, I agree with both of you. As long as it stays healthy. And you know that's not going to happen. There's going to be injuries. In fact, let me give you an example. When the Buccaneers won their first Super Bowl, 21 of the 22 guys that started the opening week started in the Super Bowl. The only one that didn't, Anthony Booger McFarlane, he broke his arm.
Right.
Luckily, he got a Super Bowl up in Indianapolis. He has a ring. But you got to stay healthy. There's two things you can't handicap. You can't handicap turnovers. You can't handicap injuries.
That's right.
That's up to the gods.
Speaking of Ira Kaufman, I want to play a clip for the audience real quick. He asked a very interesting question at mandatory minicamp. Let's go to the clip.
How motivated are you, Haason, to regain your reputation as
my reputation
as a premier passer?
Regain my rep, man. I'm not. Let's say I am motivated, but not for that type of stuff, right? Like I don't care what people think about me, to be honest. You know, people can say whatever they want. It's your opinion, and you're entitled to it. The only thing that I'm worried about is me, right? I'm not worried, not the only thing, but when you talk about things like that, as long as I'm in a great place, a safe space, and my mental is strong, that's the only thing that I'm worried about.
What do you have to say about that, Leo? I mean, like I said, a lot of people were a little skeptical about him coming to Tampa. They thought he was going to pull a Randy Gregory. And from what I've been hearing for the mandatory camp, he looks great. He's done a hell of a job taking care of himself. Heard some good things. What's your take on that?
Well, you know what, Louis? You got to understand the kid's mentality. I'm from Jersey. He's from Jersey. We don't care what anybody thinks about us. That's being part of the Jersey mentality. Like he said, I don't care what people think about me. I know when I'm in my right frame of mind, I can play football. And, you know, we were talking again today about how bad that secondary is with the Buccaneers. I said it's so bad because there's no pass rush.
That's right.
And I brought up the fact that, you know, everybody's talking about getting rid of Dean because he can't stay healthy or he's not a ball hawk. And, you know, Bowles talked about ball hawk. I said, you can't be a ball hawk if there's no pass rush.
That's right.
I am still going to say that Watson is going to be a big piece of that third down puzzle.
Right.
Because, you know, Roy and I brought up a great point and said, hey, we don't know if he can rush the passer. So he doesn't have to. You got to double team him. You got to double team him. You got to double team Vita Vea. You know what that means? Your edge rushers are singled up. That's going to make a difference. Look what the Eagles did to the Chiefs. They forced double teams on Carter and Davis. Sweat. They went nuts on the edge. And that's what's going to happen. They've got to get pressure. Again, Ron Jaworski preached this to me. And I was lucky. I had a lot of people along the way who mentored me in how to watch the game. You get color in a quarterback's face,
you don't like that.
Trouble. And look what happened to Mahomes. He looked pedestrian.
Yeah. I got to ask you, though, because there's been a lot of good talk in this mandatory. Listen, we know this is underwear football. You know, there's no pads on. Nobody's really hitting each other. Some of these guys are looking really good, especially the corners. You know, I'm curious to see, do you think Jamel Dean is starting corner number one, or do you think Zion McCollum takes that? Because like I said, from what we're hearing in mandatory, I mean, I get it, it's mandatory. I mean, minicamp, but Parrish is looking good. McCollum's looking good. You know, Jamel Dean shaved his head, so I don't know. Maybe some people kind of get the change when they get a new haircut. But do you think Jamel Dean's
Were you
going to be?
making fun of my haircut, Louie? Huh?
No. It looks great. I think it looks great, man. How old are you now? 42, 43?
Keep going.
Nah, you're about 42, 43. You look. Let's just go with that, Leo. You're 42.
Yeah, most women take me for 100, but that's another story for another show.
Well, they don't know what they're talking about. They don't know what they're missing out on. But
honestly, Louie, you ready? 72.
You don't look a day of 72. I'll tell you that.
Well, people tell me that. That's good. So, but you know what? I think you got to go with the veteran, simply because if he's healthy, he can play football. And again, let's go back to the original premise. No heat on the quarterback. And this is Leo's postulate 100. If a quarterback can throw it where he wants to, when he wants to, and to whom he wants to, you're winning a football game. You got to make him uncomfortable. And that's what that pass rush will do. It'll make him come off his number. It'll make him come off his progression. It'll make him come off his rhythm. That's what you need to do. You don't have to sack him every time, but you got to make him uncomfortable.
That's right. You know, I would say, like I said, I wanted Watson in a big way. I didn't think the Buccaneers
literally in a big way, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. You remember in the show? I called for it. I said I hope the Buc if he's available, let's draft him. Let's take him. They didn't draft him. Nobody really took a chance on the kid outside of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and they got him at as an unrestricted free agent. I mean, rookie free agent. So let's go to the comments here. We got a question for you. Question for Leo. Does he need to get under 400 pounds? So basically, I think Tim Haynes is asking you, does he need to get under 400 pounds to be useful here?
No, but he needs to get close. I asked one of the Buccaneers coaches 15 years ago, Bill Muir, will we ever see a 400-pound player? He said they're there now. They just won't put it down.
Yeah. And
he mentioned the name of Gibson from he played at Rutgers. The guy was 6'8". They listed him at 385. Bill Muir said he's over 400. I mean, just he's a big man. I think they want to get him down in the neighborhood of 390, 410. If he's north of 400, but not that far north, he can still do it. The guy's not going to play 50 snaps.
No,
That's not
God,
what they're
no.
looking at. If they are looking at it, it's a mistake. You want
Yeah.
him to play 50. And I brought up to Ira and Roy, you're going to love this. They said, well, he'll be great against the tush push. I said, oh, yeah, but think what they can do. They put Vita Vea and Watson in there, and let's say the Eagles run the tush push. Center comes out, blocks, Hurts goes right up the middle, and here comes Watson and Vita Vea from the top rope with the
Ugh.
daggone body slam. Boom. That'll stop that in a hurry. 700 pounds falling on your quarterback.
Not
You're not going
fun.
to want that more than once.
No. Shout out to the boss man here, Peter Blake. He's a monster. Hard to miss. Seen him at the expo. So when Peter was doing the expo, I was producing there a little bit and having a conversation with Peter. I seen Desmond sit next to Peter a little bit, but then he had to go do something, I believe. Peter can vouch for this. It was
It's like a moving wall. It's
compared
like a
to
moving
Peter.
wall.
I told Peter, I said, Peter, you look like an elementary student compared to him. Like it's unbelievably like. And so I was listening to the JP Peterson show a couple of days back, and they were trying to come up with a name for this front four. I can't think of a name for this front four. I mean, I have a couple in mind, but I thought that was pretty unique on his part. Of if you had to give this front four a name, what are you naming them? You know, it's the Great Wall of Tampa. You know what I'm saying? It's insane. The Red Tide, I mean, that's already kind of taken. The Pewter Plague.
Tsunami. How's that?
The Pewter Tsunami. Hey, you know what? I like that. Let's go back to the comments here. Tim Haynes, if Watson gets his hands on a back, they aren't going anywhere. Oh, God, no. Yeah, we've seen it in the highlights. We've seen the rookie tape, and I encourage people. So I'm one who watches, Leo, I do a lot of film study, especially during the regular season. And I actually do a lot of film study. I love watching the All-22s during the preseason, because I always say the preseason is very important in my opinion, because we all know what you got with your starters. We know what we have with Baker Mayfield. We know what we have with Mike. We know what we have with this offense and some of these veteran guys on defense. And I said this last year, unfortunately on a different platform, but I said I like watching the preseason because it gives you a good insight and a good look at your depth and what you have, because when shit hits the fan, as it did last year for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers with the injuries, I had a bad feeling, Leo, when I was watching the preseason. I'm like, I don't really like our depth at all. I thought we had a lot of depth going in, and I didn't like what I seen, especially from the defense. I'm like, geez, this is sloppy. This is bad. You know, usually, Leo, there's a couple of guys that stand out in the preseason, and it was Sean Tucker was one of them. And I really liked him, and I vouched for him, and I said, hey, we have a three-headed monster here at running back, and it was true. But for me, Leo, I like watching the preseason because it shows you what you have as far as depth goes. I think this year with the rookies, and we're hearing a lot of great things about, you know, the rookies this year and the mandatory minicamp, I feel good about this team. For some reason, Leo, I don't know what it is. I kind of have that same feeling when Brady first signed to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. You kind of had that feeling like, hey, we might win a Super Bowl here. I kind of have that same feeling. Do you?
It's hard for me to get that feeling in the preseason. Now, Louis, you're spot on with watching the preseason. Watch game 3. Because that's where you're going to see those guys who are right on the cusp of making the team or not.
Right.
Games 1 and 2, you're going to cut down to 90. You're going to cut down to 70. At game 3, you're not going to play the starters a lot. You're going to get them in, you're going to get them out, and then you're going to put in the guys that you're looking at, the on-the-bubble people.
Right.
And that's game 3. That's the game you want to watch. That's for sure.
Well, one thing is, Todd Bowles said this week, everyone's striving to get better. And I kind of get that. I was listening to what Rachaad White had to say. Again, Rachaad White, I think, is going to play a major X factor on this offense this year. Just because he's in a contract year. I believe he slimmed down a little bit. He looks good. but everybody's striving to get better. And one thing that I've noticed from everybody is that nobody's given up on Coach Bowles yet. I hate calling him Todd. It's disrespectful. Coach Bowles. Nobody's really given up on Coach Bowles yet on that team. And that's a positive thing because we've seen a lot of things kind of spiral out of control before week 1 of the preseason, with some of these head coaches. You take a look at Miami right now. It doesn't look too pretty over there. The Philadelphia Eagles are one incident away from imploding, in my opinion. We saw what happened when they played the Buccaneers. It's kind of like they become a mess, if you will. But this team is very family-oriented. And I keep hearing guys like Mike talk about the production of Emeka Egbuka. Let's go ahead. I have a clip here of Mike talking about Emeka Egbuka. And I got to ask you before I play this clip, what's your take on Emeka Egbuka? Are you excited about him? Do you think he can be wide receiver 2 come week 1 if Chris Godwin's not ready? What's your take on this kid?
Well, I would be ecstatic if Chris Godwin shows up September, but I don't think he is. I've got too much information from too many people that this was not an easy surgery.
Yeah.
I'm hearing October and possibly November. And I don't want to release what I know because I still want to get a little backup on this. But the kid, he can play football.
Oh, God,
Egbuka is going to be a really good receiver in this league. Now, I really like McMillan. I like both of them. But are they going to give you what Chris Godwin gives you? I don't think so. Not yet. I mean,
I think Emeka can because those guys out of Ohio State, man, they're pro ready, especially the wide receivers. They're pro ready.
Brian Kelly.
Yeah.
No, not Brian Kelly.
Ready.
Chip Kelly.
Chip Kelly. Yeah, they're pro ready.
The thing is, Chris Godwin ran that Z screen like it was a trick play.
Yeah.
And that's the key. Are they going to be able to put somebody in that slot, throw him the football, and they get a first down? Because that's what it was. It was almost like, okay, Godwin's got it. He's getting the first down. Just a matter of how much more he's going to get. And he blocks. My God, Godwin is a complete – he doesn't just catch it. He can run with it. He can block. And you know what? That's huge. That is a big, big weapon. If he's not ready – and again, Bucs fans, I don't want you to get enamored with the first 4 games. Don't worry about them. You want to win 1. It's nice to win 2. As long as you go 2-2, you're still in the conversation.
Right.
But these are games that are basically preseason in terms of body. You're only allowed 20 padded practices for whatever reason. That's the NFL rule.
Yeah, it wasn't like that back in the day, I'll tell you that.
Oh, there was 20 padded practices before the first game. But we're talking about a season now, 20 padded practices. So you got guys who are still learning, not learning, but remembering how to tackle. You got guys who are remembering how to block. And again, one thing that Carmen Perone, who was the head scout for the New Orleans Saints, indoctrinated me into, look at an offensive line. Every position that changed from last year to this year is going to take 2 games to get them ready. So if you have 2 guys playing a different position, which I don't think the Bucs will, it's going to take you 4 games. It's going to take you all of September.
Yeah.
And again, they got Atlanta on the road. They got Houston on the road. If you're going to lose the game, lose to Houston. Don't lose to Atlanta because that's a double loss in the division.
Yeah, you can't do that.
Yeah,
we can't play. We can't play catch up. I don't want to see what we did last year. I don't want to see that. We can't. We cannot play catch up in this division. Not this year because you got Carolina that's getting a lot better. They're a team that maybe they don't finish in second place,
but they're going to get better.
They're going to get better, and they're going to punch one of either us or the Falcons in the mouth. I guarantee you that. They're going to put up a loss on one of these teams. I think we're going to split the series between the Panthers. But real quickly, I want to play a clip here because I know your time's limited. This is the Mr. Mike Evans here, one of the greatest Buccaneers of all time. Let's hear what you had to say about Emeka Egbuka.
What are your impressions of Emeka and Taz, your new rookies, in the wide receiver?
I know I say it a lot, but this might be the best receiver room I've been a part of. I say it every year, but we always get great players come in. So that's been very fortunate for me in my career to be around a lot of great young players, and they've added to the room tremendously. They're already very polished already. Emeka's really strong hands, super smart. Tez, speed, quickness.
Your thoughts specifically on Emeka once he's got the ball in his hands? What he's able to do, like making people miss?
He looks like a running back, but he catches like Chris Godwin. Like he's very polished, very well-rounded player.
What does that do for you? I mean,
So he said it. He's like Chris Godwin. He catches and runs the ball like a running back. I've seen his footwork, Leo, and I thought it was fantastic.
He's an excellent route runner. You're exactly right.
I honestly do think that he's going to be wide receiver 2, or I mean, at the most part, I think he's there to kind of emulate Chris Godwin. Who knows? Maybe he may be the slot receiver for the Buccaneers, because from the things that I'm hearing about him, it sounds like he could be Chris Godwin version 2. But I do think, in my opinion, I think this kid's going to be the premier wide receiver in Tampa Bay for years to come. I really do think so. And I think
you know what, Louis? I think you got the right idea here. I think McMillan was brought in to be Mike Evans' replacement, and I think Egbuka was brought in to be Chris Godwin's, because they're getting up there. We had an interesting conversation. I'll throw one at you. Mike Evans, first ballot Hall of Famer or not?
Absolutely, hands down. You can't. I think the only thing that kills him is the All Pros and the Pro Bowl stuff. But my thing is, I wouldn't even, if I was someone of Ira Kaufman's position, trying to convince the committee, you can't even go by Pro Bowls anymore. I mean, the Pro Bowl is kind of, at this point, I could compete in the Pro Bowl, Leo. So,
I brought this up to Ira. I said, if he gets another 1,000-yard season, that takes him over Jerry Rice.
Yeah.
That's saying something.
You can't deny it there.
But here's a better one. He's played on a bunch of 6 and 10 teams. Over 60% of the yards he got, guess who threw to him?
60%? James Winston. Yeah.
Think about it now. Here's a guy who probably was vilified in Tampa Bay. He threw 36 touchdowns but threw 30 interceptions. Okay, great. I would say 15 of those were his fault. 15 of those were the receivers.
Yeah, I can agree.
You got Mike Evans, I think, and what Ira brought up is says, Marvin Harrison had to wait his turn. Mike Evans may have to wait his turn. I said, Ira, if he gets that next year and he's got 12, and we're talking 12 consecutive, he's never had a season under 1,000. That's first round. But hey, Louis, I know I got to get going, but I want to throw this out at you. How about the last show we have in July? Let's talk about our top 50 Buccaneers. Ira and Roy threw that out today. I'll tell you what. Yeah.
Yesterday on the sports web, TJ Reeves joined us. Shout out to him, Buccaneers sideline reporter. Make sure you guys go follow him. We had this discussion. He put up his top 10, and it was interesting. He had Tom Brady at 4. And I have Tom at 10. But yeah, I definitely agree with you. I definitely would. You know what? We need to dedicate a show just to that top 50 Buccaneers. I mean, you know more of the history than I do. But I have Leroy Selman and Derek Brooks tied at 1. It's just because, from my era was Brooks, Donnie Abraham, Hardy Nickerson, who I think was the pioneer of changing that defense in the 90s. I just say Leroy Selman because I went back and I watched some of the highlights, and what he did. If that man played on a defense with Sapp, I mean, let's just say Sapp wasn't there. Let's just say you plug in Leroy Selman with Simeon Rice, Booker McFarland, Greg Spires, Shelton Quarles, all those guys. I mean, come on.
And you know what, Louis? I had the advantage, and we talked about this today. Those were the two guys, Selman and Brooks.
Yeah.
One of us had one. I have Selman 1. Here's why. I had a chance to see film of him in college. Galen Hall, the Florida head football coach at the time, was the offensive line coach for the Oklahoma Sooners. He brought up film. We did a wishbone camp up in Wisconsin, at the University of Wisconsin. He goes, we got this guy who we can't block. We haven't blocked him in 3 years. Haven't got him off his feet. What's his name? Said Leroy Selman. He showed me film. This guy was fabulous. And he was, I can guarantee you while he was a Buccaneer, he never got single blocked, ever. He was double teamed all the time. And you know what? The amazing thing about that team is the Buccaneers put together a really good defense. David Logan, Richard Wood, Leroy Selman. I mean, this is a really good defense that they have. But Louis, let's plan on that for that. You know what? When I come up to Dartmouth that following week, let's plan on it. We'll do our top 50 then. How's that sound?
Sounds good to me. I'm always up for it. You know how I am with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the history,
you know
man.
what,
I'm always
folks?
up for it.
How about planning on being online then too? And we'll start from 50 and work back. Put up yours. Put up yours.
Good. Hey, sounds good to me. Like I said, I got a couple of guys in mind. So I'm gonna start working on that list today, or tonight, or maybe tomorrow morning, and then so I'm prepared. Because like I said, there's a lot of players to go through. All right, Leo, I know you got to get out of here. Let everybody know what they can find you, and let everybody know what you got going on.
Hey, go to YouTube, do a daily post. Today was the Tampa Bay sports scene. And here's the amazing thing. The most important thing in Tampa Bay this weekend, Saturday night, the Tampa Bay Sun, the women's professional soccer team, they're playing for the championship of the USLS.
Wow.
United Soccer League, the Super Women's Division. They're playing Saturday night. We're trying to get a credential so we can go out and see that.
That's pretty impressive.
Hey, that's going to be fun. But again, folks, deep breath, relax. Everybody was in mandatory minicamp. And you know what? Let's give Bowles a chance. Let's stay off the fire Todd Bowles thing. Give him a chance. Let's get into the league, because I can tell you one thing. As long as he's getting playoff home games, nobody's firing him.
No, because money talks, bullshit walks, Leo.
Got that right, buddy. Hey, always a pleasure, Louis. We'll see you next Thursday.
We'll see you. All right, everybody. That was Leo Haggerty. Go follow over there. Sure you guys go and follow him. Because I'm waiting on Jamie here to jump on. That's going to be a treat because we got a lot of stuff to talk about. Because like I said, as always here on the Frozen Pirate podcast, I like to inform Buccaneer fans as well of other teams and stuff that's going on, of other players. You know, it involves us because I like to do an in-depth look at other teams. I like to see the competition. I like to see what's what out there, and just to kind of keep you guys informed. Don't just, do everything Buccaneers. You know what I'm saying? You got to see what your competition is. Like the Patriots coming down week 10. I'm going to be covering the Patriots out here just to kind of get my foot in the door to join you guys down there in Tampa. But before we get into anything else, I want to get to the comments because it's loading up here. I appreciate every single one of you guys. Again, 1,300 views last week on Facebook Live, man. And again, I can't thank you guys enough, the fans enough. What you guys are doing, making my dream come true. A kid from Massachusetts covering the Buccaneers. I know I say that every week. It's just I am humble. I thank you guys a lot for that. It's huge. It's huge. You know what I'm saying? Like, that means a lot. Especially Peter, all them guys on the sports web, Harry the Greek, Leo Haggerty. Got a chance to talk to TJ Reeves yesterday. Go check out the sports web on YouTube, man. Go check out. We had an intense, not like bad conversation, but we had an awesome conversation on TJ Reeves' top 10 Buccaneers of all time. And it was an interesting list. I wish I could pull it up, but I can't because I wouldn't be able to. But it was pretty good. Like I said, every Monday, Wednesday, 8 o'clock, the Sports Web, myself, Peter Blake. We kill it, man. Peter, if you haven't got a chance, check. Last week, Peter was at the Tampa Sports Expo. Got to talk to Levante David. If Boss Man is still watching, let's try to get into the StreamYard and upload that, because I'd like for the people, the audience of the Frozen Pirate podcast, to see that. Levante, he got a chance to talk to Levante David, Kalijah Cansey, Christian Izzy, and the list goes on. And that's what we do here on the Sports Web. We're trying to give you guys the best possible inside look to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And we also have great guests, J.C. Allen, TJ Reeves. You never know who's going to show up. Seneca Wallace was supposed to jump on the show. He had some stuff going on. Hopefully we can try and get him back on, because that would be huge. Love chatting with Seneca. We had Iron Book as well, of the Philadelphia Eagles. Currently looking for a job right now. The dude was 33-3, I believe, or 33-5 at Notre Dame. Had a fantastic career with Notre Dame. But yeah, you never know who's going to show up. So yeah, you guys got to tune in. And like I said, thanks for hanging out here on the Frozen Pirate podcast. This is my ship. I'm the captain of this ship. Speaking of ship, I'm going to ask you guys a question in the comments. With the Buccaneers thinking about changing the stadium up a little bit, doing some touch-ups, some facelifts, let me know in the comments what you want to see at Raymond James Stadium. I've talked about this plenty of times. I said I want them to redo the pirate ship. Take the existing pirate ship out, put it out there for tailgates for people to enjoy, have it like a prop, if you will, and then rebuild a better, fiercer type of, like, I don't know, like a Black Pearl type of pirate ship with the same skull in the front. I think it would look badass, in my opinion. And you give the fans what they want, louder cannons too. That would be pretty cool. And then I've also talked about how I think if they really want fans to show up to the games, they have to do like some type of roof there, some type of bubble, if you will, to give you guys some shade. And I think for every home game, in my opinion, I think they should have somebody to start the ship up, if you will. Like, when I say that, I mean like get you guys hyped up, like a Warren Sapp, a Mike Allstott, legends of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, not celebrities. I don't want to see celebrities. I want to see legends, in my opinion. But like I said, make sure you guys like and follow and subscribe on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, wherever you guys get your social media from. Louis Lateo on Facebook. Make sure you guys go send me a friend request there. Go like and subscribe to the YouTube channel, the Frozen Pirate Podcast. Also, Instagram. I do a lot of stuff on Instagram. Do a lot of posting on Instagram. Go follow me over there, the Frozen Pirate Podcast. Greatly appreciate it. Let's get to these comments, man. Where did we leave off? All right. So Peter Blake, we were talking about this before. Peter Blake says the Red Surge. What would you guys give for the front four? A name. If you have to give that name, that defense, that front four, a name. Vita Vea, Kalijah Cansey, Logan Hall. Well, you guys get the drift. You have Logan Hall, Vita Vea, Kalijah Cansey, Desmond Watson, Yaya Diaby, Haason Reddick. What's the name? We got to come up with a name for this team. Peter says the Red Surge. That's not bad. I'd give it like right there. I don't know yet. It's all right. JJ Roberts from Christopher Cole. What's up, Christopher Cole? I see you, man. JJ Roberts is a guy to watch. The safety, rookie there. You know what? That's a really crowded safety room. It really is. I'm pulling for Shiloh, man. I want Shiloh. That's my guy. I think he brings the intensity to the team. I think he's I think he's the guy. I'd like to see them give him a chance, in my opinion, Chris. So yeah, let me know what you think about Shiloh. You think Shiloh's gonna make the team? Let me know in the comments. Nick Russo, what's up, buddy? Sun's out, guns out, Louis. No guns. See, I actually got to start working out again. I don't know what happened. I deflated a little bit. Liking the orange though, sweet hat. Thank you. The wife got me this for Christmas. I said I wasn't gonna break it out until it starts getting warmer, and it has. Today was pretty warm, and my central air decided to not work. The AC is broken, so yeah, not fun. Not fun at all. Also, Nick Russo says, I appreciate Leo's giant Wawa cup too. Got to stay hydrated in the heat. Yeah. Where's your Wawa cup, man? How's the heat over there at Greystone? Christopher Cole, do they put Godwin on the pup list? You know what? I don't know. It's a good question because, in my opinion, I don't think Godwin's going to be ready, like Leo was saying. You know, I just it's tough because that and that leads me into this. That recovery can't be good. I mean, he's done some damage on that leg already. He's had 2 serious injuries on that leg. But he's a hell of a player. If he's not ready until October, I'm okay with that because I know Emeka Egbuka, Jalen McMillan, Mike Evans, Tez Johnson. You know, there's a couple of other guys on this team too. You know, Trey Palmer's still on this team. Sterling Shepard's still on this team, but he could be on. I don't know. He might have to, but he might be a casualty of being cut, or he might be on a practice squad. I don't know. I don't know what's gonna happen. But Chris Godwin's recovery, like Leo was saying, can't be good because, like I said, he's still on the sideline. He's not really practicing. Supposedly, too, I gotta ask you guys this: Tristan Wirfs in a knee brace. Should we worry about that? I mean, I'm not really worried about it, in my opinion. I think Tristan's gonna be fine. But again, going back to Chris Godwin, that's tough, man. That's a tough injury that he suffered. That's a very tough injury. But you know what? Unfortunately, guys are going to have to step up. That's it. Guys are just going to have to step up, in my opinion. McMillan, it's your year. Emeka Egbuka, let me see what you got. Those guys are fucking pro-ready. Excuse my language, but those guys are pro-ready coming out of Ohio State. So I hope a speedy recovery for Godwin. I really want to see Godwin, Egbuka, and Mike, and McMillan. I want to see this I want to see this offense at full tilt. Because I can't see a better offense. I don't see it anywhere else. I don't see it anywhere else. So let's go to the comments here. Retractable roof would be nice, Tim Haynes says. I don't know, man, because you guys have beautiful weather out there in Tampa. I get it, it's hot, you know, but a retractable roof, you're talking some big dough. You're talking a lot of money. And I think you do what the Miami Dolphins did, in my opinion. I think that's what you do. I think like that awning that they put over there and leaving the benches hot for the opposing team, I think that's pretty cool. Let's go back to Nick Russo. Shout out to Nick, man. Thanks for tuning in, buddy. They should hoist the sails on the ship. That'd be sweet. Yeah, I don't know. It'd be cool, but I mean, it doesn't really go anywhere. That's the problem. Put some VIP seats in there too, he says. Yeah, I don't know, man. I feel like shit would get broken. You telling me that there's a VIP seat on a pirate ship during a Buccaneers game? Yeah. I'm packing a bunch of whalers rise with me. APAs. Christopher Cole says the pewter planks. Okay. Let me know in the comments, guys. Come on. I know you guys are watching. I can see it. Let me know in the comments, what's the name for this defense? Because remember back in the day, they had the Gravediggers, that young secondary, Devin White, Levante David, Gravediggers. I dug that. That was pretty cool. I dug that. But I don't know. I'm just kind of curious, man. Like, what do you guys have for ideas here, man? Let's make this a thing. Let's make it a thing too. Because in my opinion, they need an identity, this defense. They need a name. And we got to come up with a name. Like, so, yeah. I want to go back to some stuff. I want to show you guys some stuff here. I got a couple of clips here. I wasn't able to get everything. But let's go back to the Haason Reddick. I want to talk about Haason Reddick a little bit more and what this means for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Because Todd Bowles is a defensive genius, in my opinion. Everyone's striving to get better, he says, and the defense had a lot of good stuff during mandatory minicamp. You know, a guy that I want you guys to pay attention to on this defense is Bryce Hall for the Tampa Bay Bucs corner. He got hurt last year, but I thought he was really coming on as a pretty good corner. I think, honestly, I think the secondary's fixed, in my opinion. But let's get back to Haason Reddick, because I want to know in the comments, do you think this guy can be a leader for this Tampa Bay Buccaneers ball club? Curious to see what you guys have to say about that. Do you think he could be a leader for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? Could he anchor this defense? Could he be the guy back in 2003, the 2003 or 2004 season when the Patriots played the Eagles in the Super Bowl? They had a shitty running game. What did they do? They went out and they got Corey Dillon. And Corey Dillon was a beast for them. He was the missing link for the Patriots. Corey Dillon was. Is Haason Reddick that missing link for our defense to get us to the NFC Championship game? Because in all reality, I don't care who you put up against us. I think the Buccaneers have a very talented team in place, and they have probably some of the best depth, in my opinion. So I want to play you guys a clip because I know there was a lot of you guys out there. Don't hide. Don't hide. I read the comments. I seen what everybody was saying. You know, this was a mistake. This is the same thing as Gregory. So I want to show you guys what he said during mandatory minicamp. This is why he wasn't there.
About working on your own, is there anything in particular that you like about that?
More so, this year it wasn't even really about working out on my own. This year was more so, like I said, you know, button up on things, trying to transition, get down here, find a place to live, all that type of stuff. So it wasn't really about me wanting to work on my own. I came down here to introduce myself to the guys, get around the young guys. When I came earlier in OTAs and when I got back, it was just about, like I said, trying to get everything buttoned up. I don't want no distractions, right? When I come down here, I want to be able to play good football, right? I don't want nobody worried about, oh, he got this going on. I want to come down here. I want to focus on football. I want to focus on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. You feel what I'm saying? I want to play great football in front of the crew. That's all I want to do.
You heard what he said at the end there? I want to play good football in front of the crew. Us. He acknowledges us. No Roman Reigns intended. But he acknowledged us. He knows. He's not stupid. You know, so when I start hearing Buck fans complain about him, and I told you guys, relax. Everybody was saying this. A lot of people were saying this. I told him, Leo was right. He goes, why are you going to show up? There's no need to show up for that. It's not mandatory. The dude was working out. He really didn't put any film out there for the Jets. He held out. He's healthy. He's ready to go. I think that he kept his body in good shape. He looks good. Wearing number 5. I'm very curious to see what him and Yaya Diaby can put together. Yaya Diaby is not a young cat no more. I mean, he's still young in age, but he's kind of going into a veteran role there, in my opinion. So I think guys like Yaya Diaby, Anthony Nelson, you know who's going to benefit from this too? Chris Braswell. I'll tell you why. Because he's hungry. He's going to be fresh. I think Todd Bowles is going to constantly rotate these guys so we can have a fresh front four at all times. And then you're going to see Desmond Watson go in there and clean up the tush-push bullshit, clean up the run game a little bit, help shut that stuff down. So, yeah, Christopher Cole says, no run zone. Yeah, man, it's going to be tough to run on this Buccaneer defense, but the most important thing is this defense, this front 7 has to stay healthy. Levante David has to stay healthy. Anthony Walker Jr. has to stay healthy. Savassier Dennis has to stay healthy. Savassier Dennis is going to have himself a big year if he stays healthy. I think Shiloh can have himself a very big year if he's healthy. Those two guys right there, Shiloh Sanders and Savassier Dennis, those two guys, this fly is aggravating me. Those two guys are the physical guys for this Tampa Bay Buccaneers ball club, because this Buccaneer defense, they lack, man. They lack physicality, in my opinion. They weren't really violent. I like to see. Don't take this the wrong way. I like to see violence. Like, remember when Jason Light first drafted Vita Vea? He said, "Hey, man, you got to play a little bit more violent," and he did that. And look at him now. So let's go to the comments here. Justin Parks, the infamous NWO. LOL. Ha ha ha. I don't know what you mean by that, but the infamous NWO. Elaborate, bud. Look, do I think Haason Reddick brings something to the table for this Buccaneer Ball Club? Absolutely. I think him being here and the contract that they signed with Haason Reddick, I mean, I'll go back and play the clip, man. I think he's hungry. He's hungry to be here. And there's nothing wrong with that. He's going to bring some juice, man. That's the best John Gruden I can do. He's going to bring that juice, man, to this defense. That's what he needs. That's what this defense needs. They need a serious pass rusher on the edge. I mean, I know I wanted Max Crosby, but that was a pipe dream, man. But I want to go back to Mike Evans. Oh, hold on. Justin Parks. Wrestling had what you called the New World Order back in the day. No, I know the NWO, the New World Order. Are you saying that we should name the front seven, the New World Order, the NWO? I mean, is that what you're saying? I can dig that. But that's some pretty big shoes to fill. So to call them the NWO, the New World Order, that's pretty cool though. I dig that. I see where you're going with that. But let's go back to I want to play a clip. Yes, so that's what he's trying to say. All right, man. Hey man, I've had a long week of work, a lot of stuff going on, man. AC's not working too. That sucks. So if I'm a little off today, I apologize. I'm waiting for Jamie here to join us here on the Frozen Pirate podcast. I'm gonna play something real quickly here, also of Mike Evans talking about our offensive coordinator, because he had a lot to say there. Coach Grizz, man, hearing a lot of good things. I want to know in the comments. Let me know in the comments, what do you think about Coach Grizz, the offensive coordinator? Because a lot of people weren't big on this. I'm all for it. And I know I really didn't talk about it too much when it happened, but I'm looking back now and thinking about it. I think this is the perfect situation, because here's a guy, even if he replicates what Liam Cohen did, I don't think he'll get a head coaching job next year. And that's listen to me. I think him coming back for a second year, if the Buccaneers offense has success and they replicate, if not do better, I don't think anybody's going to offer him a head coaching job. I could be wrong. But if this man has success in this offense, and then going into year 2 and him still being here, that's huge. But let's go to that. Let's go. Hold on here. Just trying to find that clip. All right, this is Mike Evans talking about Grizz.
Mike, now has Josh Grizzard kind of taken on his role, and what do you feel?
Josh, Coach Grizz is last year. We talked a lot, but he didn't talk as much in groups, and he does a really great job of talking in front of everybody. Yeah. And we didn't get to see that last year, but he's a really great coach, and I look forward to having a great season for him.
In this sense that the nuances of this offense that you're picking up in year 2, you don't have to switch around. How much better can you guys be with that?
I love it. I love having that consistency with the playbook, because it's really extremely hard to learn a new playbook. If for people that haven't played football, it's especially at this level, it's tough, but it makes it way easier for us. We can play fast, don't have to think, and then add things to it. So we can take offense to the next level.
We can take the offense to the next level. There was another clip that I had. I didn't upload it. There was a couple of clips. I was kind of running behind today, just trying to fix this damn AC. But I think this is huge, because bringing in Coach Grizzard, he was there with Liam Cohen. It's the same offense, just different terminology, but even that takes time. I don't think he's going to really replicate everything Liam did, and I think that'd be stupid on his part, because you don't want to be predictable. And I get it. We got Mike, we got Chris, we have all these guys. Oh, you got to stop it. Believe me. Once you start becoming like repetitive with what you're doing, and you're not evolving and teams see that, believe me, you're going to get shut down. Look at the Miami Dolphins. And eventually it's going to happen to the Philadelphia Eagles. All that stuff ends. For me, the inside hire was huge, not only for Mike and Chris and Bucky. It's huge for Baker because Baker knows the playbook. Mike knows the playbook. Chris knows the playbook. All these guys know the playbook. So that's huge. It's just learning some different terminology. Just learning different terminology. So that makes everything easier for Baker because Baker's been through how many offensive coordinators now? So, and Baker looks ready, man. Bake's focused. He looks better. He does. Guys like Rashad White. Let me know in the comments. Who you guys excited to watch this offseason? Going into training camp. Who are some of the players that you guys are excited about? Let me know in the comments. Like if you're on the like I said, if you're on Twitter, jump onto YouTube, man. Come on YouTube. Voice your opinion. Open platform, man. I'm not going to hang up the phone on you. I'll read your comments out. I don't care. Don't bother me one bit. I'll read your comments out. Come join the conversation. Get off Twitter. Join us on YouTube here. So, but yeah. Again, I'm excited for this season. I really am. I think there's a lot of cool stuff going on. I think this is probably by far one of the best Buccaneer off seasons, in my opinion. So let me know what you guys think in the comments too. How you guys feeling about the off season? Also, who are your top 10 Buccaneer players of all time? I'd love to see that in the comments. I'm gonna give you guys my top 10. I feel like because that's something that I'm gonna get off topic here to kill some time before we get into around the NFL. Hopefully Jamie can join me because I have a couple of questions to ask him. But I'm just curious who you guys have in your top 10 of all time for greatest Buccaneers of all time. So when I was doing the show with TJ and Peter yesterday, TJ had a pretty good list. Kind of had me rethinking my list here because I'm looking at my list. So yesterday I had Tom Brady at 10. And I'm talking as far as of all time, like production wise, what they've done for the organization, what they've done for, just the Buccaneers. So, all right, Tim Haynes, I was in a full agreement with TJ's last night. TJ had a very interesting list, and I really liked his list. Again, like I said, it had me rethinking my list. So I had Tom Brady at 10, and I'll tell you why I have him at 10. Tom Brady, he was here for technically, in my opinion, 2 years. The year 3, he was mentally checked out. A lot going on. He, the divorce, the Botox, not here for a full training camp. There was a lot going on in Tom Brady's mind, and we saw it. But what he's done for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers organization, he sprinkled the seeds of no longer losing, no longer being a cheese dick franchise, no longer being a laughing stock. Excuse my language, but just not. You remember those Buccaneer teams, like when we were down by 10, game's over, and there was no effort. When Tom came in the building, that stuff changed. And then he kind of, hate to say it, and you guys are probably, I'm sorry to say it, but he brought the Patriot way to the Buccaneers of taking pay cuts, getting to get players in here, players taking pay cuts to bring in players. We saw that. And we're starting to see the Tom Brady effect. That's why I have Tom Brady top 10. I wouldn't put him any lower than that just because there's guys on this list, to me, that means so much more to the franchise. And a guy, actually, I'm going to swap it up. I'm going to put Tom Brady 9, and I'm going to put Tristan Wirfs 10. And it's just because, in my opinion, Tristan Wirfs, I'm going to put him at 10, Tom Brady at 9. Sorry, guys. Bear with me. Tristan Wirfs, in my opinion, what he's done so far as a Tampa Bay Buccaneer with I mean, how many holding calls does he have? It's like a crazy number. Like, I think he has like 4 or 5 total in his career, if that. The success that he had, just being the right tackle, being the pick for Tom Brady, doing what he's done. And he's an awesome dude on and off the field. He's a warrior. Just the success he has so far, that's why I put him, in my opinion, at 10 and Tom Brady at 9. Number 8 for me is Hardy Nickerson. If you haven't watched Hardy Nickerson play for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I advise you to go on YouTube after the show's over and go watch Hardy Nickerson play. Because when he got here, there was no Sapp, there was no Brooks. He was kind of here solo. He really elevated his game when Dungy got here, in my opinion. You want to talk about a quick linebacker on the ball, physicality. He was here when Lynch was here too before those guys. I would say he's my number 8 best Buck of all time. Coming in at number 7 is Simeon Rice. Again, the Buccaneers had some juice, but on the edge, not enough. Simeon Rice complimented Warren Sapp as much as Warren Sapp complimented Simeon Rice, in my opinion. Simeon Rice was a monster. Quickness, the speed, the long, lanky arms, for me, in my opinion, doesn't get talked enough about. Shout out to Ira Kaufman, because now you have some ammo there in helping getting Simeon Rice in the Hall of Fame, because I believe he deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. There was so many times I seen Simeon just kind of pew and fucking strip sack people. That was huge. The amount of strip sacks that dude had, the amount of sacks he had for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, he wrecked games. He wrecked games, in my opinion. So, and Warren Sapp, you got to tip your hat off to him, because he did a lot of plugging up front to help get Simeon Rice those sacks, because it would take 2 guys just to cover Sapp. Sapp was a freak of nature. So yeah, Simeon number 7. Number 6 for me is John Lynch. John Lynch didn't really show up in the stat sheet, and if you go back to TJ's rant there, he was absolutely right. John Lynch didn't really show up in the stat sheet, but when it mattered, the dude would pop you. He cannot play in this NFL. He would get suspended. He would get fined. And it's not to his fault, because he's not a dirty player. He was a monster. Nobody wanted to get hit by him. You go back and watch those old Buccaneer games, he was like, he showed you that version of, like, he was like that hybrid of inside linebacker / safety. The dude was a monster. He'd knock you out. He knocked people out of games. I believe his own brother-in-law during the Chicago game. I'm waiting for Jamie so I can ask him about that. But he knocked his own brother-in-law out. Speaking of the devil. But he knocked his own brother-in-law out, dude. John Lynch, in my opinion, insane. Let's bring him on the stage here. It's been a while. Let's get him up here on the Frozen Pirate podcast. Mr. Jamie, how's it going, buddy?
What's up, brother? How are you?
Living the dream, man. We actually, I was talking to the audience because last night on the sports web, I don't know if anybody caught it, but in the comment section shows that some people really enjoyed TJ Reeves' take on his top 10 of Tampa Bay Buccaneer players. And I'm just kind of going through my list. I say Tristan Wirfs, in my opinion, is 10. And mind you, Jamie, I'm doing this list not based off of like popularity. I'm doing this list based off of contributing to the team.
Yeah, how important they are to the
team,
right?
Longevity, stuff like that. So I have
these are the current 10. This is not all time.
This for me, no, this is for me all time. This is all time.
All time. Ooh.
All time. So I have
and you got Wirfs at 10.
10.
There's an argument to be made there. There's still, we don't know everything yet, right? Because that story's not over. But it's one of the relatively not young franchises, but you're kind of in that middle age group. So it's not like we're looking back at the 40s and going, oh, who was this guy if World War II hadn't hit? That would have been blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I can see the argument for it.
Yeah. So I got him. Then I have Tom Brady at 9, just because of
he won a ring. He won a
He
ring.
won a ring. He changed the
There's
culture.
nothing else to be said.
Yeah. I have Hardy Nickerson at 8, just because he was there.
He was a cultural magnet for the team.
Yeah.
He set the tone for what the team was.
Yeah, so him and Lynch were there before Sapp and Brooks. So I have the future Hall of Famer. Shout out to Ira Kaufman. Please, man, do the best you can to get this man into the Hall of Fame. He's in the Ring of Honor. Simeon Rice. What he brought to that Buccaneers defense, he brought swagger. He brought the juice, man. He brought some juice, Jamie. I
read a really interesting article a few weeks ago that basically said, he didn't have the press coverage that a lot of guys had at the time. And I get it. When he played, there were, the superstars were so gaudy and so loud and so
right.
But it was basically a statistical analysis and said, like, he doesn't belong as, top 3 all time, but you got all these other guys in the hall that he belongs right next to. So,
yeah, I mean, I said,
I like that pick.
Yeah, to me, like I said, Simeon was a problem. A lot of strip sacks. Number 6 is John Lynch. I just said that because what he contributed to the team. He was like that hybrid version of that safety / inside linebacker. The greatest show on turf. You can ask those guys, Isaac Bruce and Tari Holt and Ricky Prohl. Are you a little skeptical about going down the middle? And they would tell you, yeah.
Yeah, people were scared to play against him, right? Like,
oh yeah,
it's not that every play was perfect. It's that when he did it right, you were going to feel it for weeks.
Yeah, and
he was, at the time, I was all Bears all the time. He was fun to watch play.
He knocked out his brother-in-law, man, out of the game. The kid who used to play for the Bears, I forgot his name. His brother-in-law. He knocked him out of the own game. He was a savage. He didn't care. Agent 47, man. All right, number 5. I'm wearing the shirt. My personal favorite. A lot of people
red.
Yeah, a lot of people may disagree with me. And I say All-Star. Mike All-Star is top 5 Buccaneers of all time just because of his run style. I believe his career got cut short because of some neck injuries. Him and Warwick done together were truly amazing. WD-40 is what they used to call it. WD-40. Warwick Dunn and Mike All-Star. All-Star.
If you were to ask anyone under the age of 50, think of a fullback,
Mike All-Star.
90% of people are going All-Star.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, what he did, running people over, and those plays, Jamie, they took so long.
Well, you and I went through a period a few months ago where for a couple of weeks we were passing videos back and forth of All-Star highlights.
Yeah.
And it really refreshed to me, like, that dude was a nightmare to bring down, right? In a goal line situation, just give him the touchdown, right? Like, he's getting in there. He's going to hurt someone on the way in, with the big net guard, man. He looked like a bison,
Yeah. All-Star, again, the A-Train. Number 4, greatest Buck of all time for me is Rondé Barber, the Iron Man of Tampa Bay. Never missed a game. He would play through injuries. The back end of his career playing safety, and he looked young again. A lot of people doubted him early on in his career, said he couldn't be a starter and he wasn't very good. And then a lot of people picked on him during that Philly game when we shut Veterans Stadium down. Rondé Barber heard the talk, and he made one of the greatest, the most iconic play of Tampa Bay's history of all time. And he off Donovan McNabb sealed Veterans Stadium. Number 3 for me is Warren Sapp. Warren Sapp was a complete problem. QB killer 99. A little controversial, but if we're basing it off on the field, I know he was a Buck for 8-9 years, and then he went to Oakland. Didn't look very good in Oakland.
I would say he's probably top 3 in his position ever in the history of the game.
Right. Yeah, I mean, to me, like I said, what he contributed to the team, you always had a shot of winning on defense with Warren Sapp on the line, and he made everybody better. Booker McFarland was better. Styles White was better. Greg Spires was better. Simeon Rice became in my opinion, Simeon Rice is a Hall of Famer. in my opinion. Shout out to Christopher Cole. Said it himself. Rice is a Hall of Famer. A couple more comments I'll get
Well,
to.
he had gravity, right? Like, there's no world in which you're putting someone one-on-one against him.
Right.
So it goes to your point that everyone else is going to play better because everyone else is playing against 3/4 of a man.
That's right.
Because people have to worry about the other guy.
Yeah. So number 2, I think the fans kind of know where I'm going with this. Number 2 for me is Mike Evans. And I say Mike Evans just because of the simple fact he's probably the greatest Buccaneer receiver, probably the greatest Buccaneer offensive player of all time. He is the greatest offensive player of all time for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. What he's accomplished on the field with the shit quarterbacks he's had, outside of Tom Brady and Baker Mayfield, it's pretty impressive. Catching passes from Mike Glennon, Napoleon Dynamite there, as I like to call him.
You talking about Bears legend?
Bears legend Mike Glennon. Did he get arrested for theft because he stole a contract from you guys?
It actually, it's funny. Bears fans really shit the bed at the time, but it was like a $12 million. It was the kind of contract now that people would be like, "Oh, what was he, a third stringer?" And it was only what? It was not even 10 years ago, I don't think.
No,
8 years ago.
Was it
when we drafted Justin Fields? No, it was when we drafted Trubisky. It was Trubisky.
Yeah.
Remember, he was the starter for the first like 6 games. We drafted Trubisky, and he was going to be the veteran. And no question, he's our starter. He's starting the whole year. Trubisky's going to take a back seat, and Glennon doing Glennon things. He seems like a nice guy.
Yeah. He was at Mike Evans's wedding. I think he was like one of Mike's best men, I believe. I'm not sure.
Let's go back to Evans here because I think I've spotted a problem with the Evans thing.
Okay.
And I think you'll probably agree with me on this. In some ways, Evans is a controversial figure. I was just looking at stuff today. He did that great interview. What was it, this morning or yesterday, where he talked about spending time with Jerry Rice and how amazing that was. The problem with Mike Evans is that he's still playing. I promise you, 2 years after he retires, all these loudmouths who are talking about, "Oh, he's overrated. Oh, he's this. Oh, he's that." As soon as he retires and people just see the numbers, everyone's going to go, "Oh, greatest receiver, top 5, top 10 all time." The other problem, which you and I have talked about a bunch, is that he's not an asshole.
No.
He's humble. He's kind. He's nice. He's loyal to the community.
That's why he doesn't get talked about enough.
And he doesn't get talked about because he does the right thing.
No drama.
And people want the guy who goes, "Oh, fuck you. I make $2 million more a year. I'm moving across the country. I'm taking my family somewhere else. Fuck the organization. Fuck this. Fuck that." Right.
Yep.
In the modern era, what's everyone been talking about nonstop for the last few days? Jair Alexander.
Yep.
This is a guy who averages playing 7 games a season.
Yeah.
And I saw a Packers fan say it perfectly, and I hate to admit that a Packers fan did anything perfectly. He said, "The perfect thing about Jair Alexander is that for all the games he misses, for half of those games, he's a game time decision up until 20 minutes before kickoff, and you never actually know if he's injured, if he's having a personal issue, if he's got a stomach bug. There's just always something with him," right? So everyone's been talking about Jair Alexander like crazy lately. Why? Has this guy won a ring? Has he ever done anything amazing? He hasn't played more than half a season in 3 years.
Some Bucs fans want him. I don't know why. We don't need him. We're crowded.
No. And you have a well-run organization. That is, I know that well-run organizations, the Chiefs are a great example of this, can soak up a personality issue here and there without it sinking the team. That'd be fine if he was like, a Josh Norman style guy, right? Where he's a loudmouth. But for 14, 15 weeks out of the year, that team is just missing a receiver for the entire game. He doesn't even play half a season.
Yeah.
And he's always demanding more money. He doesn't want to show up to anything. He's getting in fights with the coach. The secondary comment from that guy, you talking about the coin flip thing?
Oh, geez.
You forgot about that, didn't you? Remember, we did like half a show about that because you and I had never seen anything like that before.
Yeah, we had a whole show planned out, and it just kind of went off.
Which player in NFL history has ever screwed up a coin flip for their team?
Yeah.
And not by just, I was I meant to say tails, or I pointed the wrong side of the field. He wasn't even supposed to be in the damn coin flip.
Yeah.
And he put himself out there.
Yeah,
Fuck that guy. Fuck that
yeah,
guy.
I'm all set with him.
The only thing that would make me happy would be if the Packers re-signed him.
We're going to be talking about the Packers in a little bit.
Oh,
Let's get back to this list.
All right, now we got number one.
Number one, a lot of people like, well, is it Sapp? I mean, is it Brooks? Is it, Leroy Selman? But to anybody, because I see a couple of people that just joined, I'm doing a top 10, my top 10 greatest Buccaneers of all time total list. I have Tristan at 10, Tom Brady at 9, Hardy Nickerson at 8, Simeon Rice at 7, John Lynch at 6, Mike Allstott at 5, Rondé Barber at 4, Warren Sapp at 3, Mike Evans at number 2. But number one, for me, the greatest Buccaneer of all time, number one. It's tough. It's very tough. Because I was thinking about this. I'm going to give an honorable mention because I have to. But for me, it's going to be a tie. It's tough. Because I was really thinking about this. I love Leroy Selman. I love what he brought to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It just wasn't my era of football. I watched a lot of highlights of Leroy Selman. I mean, if you put Leroy Selman with guys like Simeon Rice and those guys, Brooks and Lynch, you're talking one of the greatest defensive tackles of all time. The guy just commanded respect. Big dude just commanded respect. So he's my honorable mention. The tie for number one of all time, it's tied between Derek Brooks and Levante David. Levante David is on the cusp right now of, I think he's 110 tackles away, Jamie, of tying or surpassing Derek Brooks. Yes, Derek Brooks. To do that in an organization, to stay with one team and constantly coming back. There was a time Levante was going to leave. But I'll tell you one thing. It's tough for me to put Levante ahead of Derek because Mr. Derek Brooks, who's my favorite player, Mr. Derek. Remember those Feel the Power commercials, Jamie, for the NFL? Oh, I think we lost.
Say it.
Remember those commercials? Feel the Power. Remember those commercials they had for the NFL, and then you had Derek Brooks on the bus. Who's my favorite player, Mr. Derek Brooks? That was classic. But Levante David and Derek Brooks is tied number one of all time, in my opinion. It's tough because I can't really. I think
it's tough to put Levante David up there now while he's still playing. But I didn't disagree with the Evans thing. He's still playing, but Evans has also tied the record for an unbelievable stat, right? You and I talk about this all the time.
Jerry Rice.
There are so many cherry picked stats, right? You see it more in baseball, but you see it in football too. Oh, he's the best on third and long running slants. Okay, great. But a record like that, and what you talked about, I mean, Jerry Rice did it with two of the best quarterbacks to ever play and the two best quarterbacks of their era. Right?
Where would Mike Evans' stats be if he got to play with Brady 3 years before him coming to Tampa? Let's just say he had a total of 6 years with Tom.
I mean, it's interesting, right? I don't. Maybe this is a controversial take. I don't know that his numbers are as good if he's with a good quarterback consistently.
Well, a lot of people do say that he looks better with Baker than he did with Tom. I'm a firm believer of that. I think his stats are a lot better with Baker because Baker looks towards his way more. Tom was more favored of slants, dumping the ball in the backfield, looking for the checkdowns with Fournette.
Well, when you think of Brady, what receivers do you think of?
Oh, slot receivers, and Chris Godwin was his guy. So
you think of Welker, right? Yep. Or you think of really speedy backs with soft hands.
Yeah.
So of course there's Randy Moss, but Randy Moss was an outlier, really. And when you look at the 20 years of Brady, how many really amazing sluggo, fly route, deep threat, just beat you in the air guys was he throwing to consistently? That wasn't what made him great. What made him great was he could always find a guy in traffic. So I think you're right. I think that's why Godwin's going to be a more appealing target for him. So, but it's not just Brady, right? I think what happens is when you have an all-time great quarterback and an all-time great wide receiver, in some ways it's easier to plan your defense around, right? Because there's just no question. We always need a safety cheating on this guy every time. Force him to go to the other guy. Force him to go to the lesser guy. Whereas with Evans, because most of his career has been thrown to by mediocre to poor quarterbacks, it was, I'll be the one guy that gets open. I'll be the guy that beats the coverage. His ability to find gaps in zones obviously is part of what makes him great, and also his ability to make contested catches. So maybe it's not controversial, but I'm just not confident that his career is as good if he's with a great quarterback for 6 years.
He made a lot of quarterbacks look good, man. He got Mike Glennon paid. Let's go to the comments here. Dave says, I'm sorry, but to me, Tom Brady shouldn't be in the top 10 because he tried to leave us after 1 year. I'm gonna have to disagree with you. If you're gonna say something like that, I'll bring that back up. Where are you getting this information that he tried to leave after 1 year? Because I don't think he was trying to leave after 1 year. He was contemplating retiring because I mean,
the idea was floated, right? And I don't think that's just a rumor. I think that's relatively confirmed that he was, he was thinking about it, but we also don't know to what extent that's just his agent negotiating. We don't know.
No, we got Bears comment here.
Yeah,
Alred.
I pulled that.
I think his name was John. He played.
Yeah, he was
John Alred. Yeah, I think he's right.
Yeah, I pulled it up. I don't know if you heard me, but so I think the comment about Brady not being an all-time great because he tried to leave after a year, I think that's a fair comment. I get where you're coming from, but he brought a ring to the city.
Yeah,
and that
not
is
only
what
that, Jamie, he changed the culture of the team.
Yeah,
I keep saying that he changed the culture of the team.
I don't think Baker has the success that he's having now if Brady doesn't go to the Buccaneers when he did.
Yeah, because it's a different franchise. Like I said, people, that mystique, that I call it the Tom Brady effect. That effect is instilled in Mike, Chris, Tristan Wirfs, especially.
Everybody, even look in the defense, right? Like
Devontae,
you're talking about a guy who's famous for being the hardest working man in any organization he goes to, a man who basically doesn't know how to do anything in his life outside of football and lives, eats, and breathes it. Guys are going to see that. You don't have to be playing on the same side of the ball as him to when you show up at practice, he's already been there for 2 hours.
Right.
And one of the great things about the Bucs is that they've had a lot of guys that have been there for years and years. They're not a revolving door franchise.
No. I want to ask you, because there was a lot of hysteria. I don't know if you've been paying attention. A lot of hysteria on why Haason Reddick did not show up for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Voluntary. Keyword. Voluntary.
Yeah.
OTA. I was on the sports web. Shout out to Peter. Every Monday and Wednesday, 8 o'clock, the sports web. I'm there with my co-host Peter Blake, and remember, every Thursday 7:30 right here on the Sports Web, the Frozen Pirate Podcast. You can catch us on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcast. If you cannot watch us, you can take us on the go there, and go like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Meanwhile, a lot of people were freaking out, and me and Peter and a few people were discussing this. I didn't have an issue with it because there's a lot of factors that go into him coming down here. Mike Evans wasn't here. Nobody was making a big deal, but a lot of people like, well, he needs to learn the scheme. Buddy, he's playing edge rusher. What scheme is there? Just rush the quarterback. He's barely probably going to, very rarely will he drop back in coverage. But I'm going to play a clip for you, Jamie. I want you to tell me what you thought when he didn't show up and what you think of his comments here. Because in my opinion, I think he's going to be a leader for this Buccaneers ball club. But here's the video.
About working on your own, is there anything in particular that you like about that?
More so, this year it wasn't even really about working out on my own. This year was more so, like I said, button up on things, trying to transition, get down here, find a place to live, all that type of stuff. So it wasn't really about me wanting to work on my own. I came down here to introduce myself to the guys, get around the young guys. When I came earlier in OTAs and when I got back, it was just about, like I said, trying to get everything buttoned up. I don't want no distractions, right? When I come down here, I want to be able to play good football. right? I don't want nobody worried about, oh, he got this going on. I want to come down here. I want to focus on football. I want to focus on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. You feel what I'm saying? I want to play great football in front of the crew. That's all I want to do.
Yeah.
What do you think, Jamie? Because he said one thing that really stuck out to me was, I want to play great football for the crew. So if you're not familiar with the crew is what they call Buck fans and stuff like that. It's the hashtag We Are the Crew. Him acknowledging that means a lot to me. And I think this front seven is drastically improved, and they got him for a good deal. I'm not worried that he didn't show up, because from what I've seen on the JP Peterson show, and he's been putting stuff out, everybody's been putting stuff out, Jay Retcher, everybody, he looks good wearing the number 5. But what did you feel about him not showing up? Because a lot of people made a big deal about this because of what happened with the Jets and the Eagles. What's your take?
Look, if it was any other player, it wouldn't be a big deal, and the operative word would be voluntary. However, attitude seems good. I agree with what he's saying. Is I want to take care of personal admin, right? I want to get my house in order. I want to get my life in order. I want to get it so that I'm not trying to practice and deal with all this shit at the same time. At the end of the day, he's a veteran. He's a proven veteran. But we can't pretend that all that other stuff didn't happen, right? We can't just say that he hasn't had holdouts, and I don't even want to say like personal issues, because it's not that. It's more. I just think
he wanted to get paid. He wanted to be compensated.
Issues. Yeah, but at the same time, we also deify guys like Evans and Godwin, who we know could make more money somewhere else, because they're choosing to put the team and the city and the dream of a championship ahead of a couple extra $1 million. And you and I have talked at great length about why I believe that those guys are actually making a smarter financial investment in their own futures. Why that couple million up front doesn't matter compared to 30, 40, 50 years of love and respect from the community that will turn out to be a lot more than $2 million in earnings. I don't know. I don't know enough about Reddick other than, obviously seeing him covered a lot in the media, but I've never watched him closely. I will say I take a little bit of issue with you saying, oh, what scheme does he need to learn? He just needs it.
You get what I'm saying, though. Like,
but I know you watch all 22s, right? Two things that I've done a ton of this offseason so far is watch these guys in social media who are like position coaches who know so much more about individual stuff than you and I do, because all they care about is a right tackle, right? Or an edge rusher, and they can describe everything this guy is doing with every finger on every play. So I just been watching all this tape of no commentator, just the guy sort of slowing the footage down, showing what's happening. And I will say I've learned that edge rushing is complicated, and there's a reason why there are like 10 guys that are very, very good at it, and then a bunch of other guys.
Right.
And it's not because other guys aren't fast. It's not because other guys aren't strong. There are other guys that are more. You look at Khalil Mack, right? Of course, he's a beast, but you look at prime Khalil Mack. It's not because he's physically a standout above everyone else. Right. It's his technique in getting there. It's his way. Right. So I watched a really cool play. Was it this morning or yesterday afternoon? I can't remember. But in the last couple of days of basically a multiplayer edge rush, it was like a double fake. Right. So one guy fakes inside, one guy fakes outside. Then they both cut. One goes for the swim, and it causes the O linemen to kind of trip over each other because they're each trying to figure out which guy is going in what direction. And it did give me a newfound respect for man, these guys have 3 to 5 seconds to do 25 different things all in tandem with 3 to 5 other guys, depending on the play call. And it really hit home for me that these guys have to be smart, and they have to we're talking about adjustments that are 1/10 of a second, 2/10 of a second, that are the difference between someone being a Hall of Famer or someone not even being able to be a starter.
Right.
So, there are going to be all sorts of defensive schemes he's going to have to learn.
Yeah. Let me go back to the
but you're
comments.
right. It's not, he's not a Y receiver, right? Where he's going to be spending months with the playbook.
Yeah. Aloha Lamar, man. I see you, man. You're on every show now. I appreciate you, man. We're just talking about some Haason Reddick stuff real quickly before we transition to around the NFL, because there is a few topics to talk about. Emeka Egbuka, man, is really showing up at Buccaneers camp here. Here's Mike Evans and what he has to say about Emeka.
What are your impressions of Emeka and Taz, your new rookies, in the wide receiver?
I know I say it a lot, but this might be the best receiver room I've been a part of. I say it every year, but we always get great players come in. So that's been very fortunate for me in my career to be around a lot of great young players, and they've added to the room tremendously. They're already very polished already. Emeka's really strong hands, super smart, Taz, speed, quickness.
Your thoughts specifically on Emeka once he's got the ball in his hands? What he's able to do, like making people miss?
He looks like a running back, but he catches like Chris Godwin. Like he's very polished, very well-rounded player.
What does that do for you? I mean,
So I've been trying to tell people. So when the Buccaneers drafted Emeka Egbuka, I was kind of taken back by it, but then the bell rang. I was just like, okay, best player available. He was the best player available for the Buccaneers, and also I'm starting to think that Chris isn't going to be ready week 1. I don't think he's going to be ready week 2. I don't even think he's going to be ready week 3. I think he's going to come back around October.
Well, we talked about this a couple months ago, that even when he's back, that doesn't mean he's ready.
Yeah, he's really back.
Right.
In my opinion, Emeka Egbuka was a steal for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I've been watching his footwork. I've been watching a lot of the training videos he's been doing. This kid is built. He's another Chris Godwin. Let's go to the comments here. Lamar says, amazing receiver room for sure. I mean, Tez Johnson, too, is somebody that nobody's really talking about, a good friend of Bucky Irvin. This kid's going to be a Swiss Army knife for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, in my opinion. Kick returns, all those crazy plays, end rounds and stuff. I think this Buccaneer team, especially with Emeka Egbuka leading the way as the first pick for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in the 2025 NFL draft. Jamie, I'm very impressed what they did. Parrish, the corner, very good. Benjamin Morrison, too. Like, they addressed a lot of positions. I'm very excited for this year's draft class. I don't want to go too much about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers because I know you're here for some specific topics here. But real quickly, what do you think about Emeka Egbuka and his impact for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? I mean,
I'll say the same thing I said last year, right? And the year before that, we're talking, McMillan or whoever it may be. Everyone's got amazing highlight footage. Everyone plays well in practice. These guys, they wouldn't be there if they weren't some of the most talented athletes on earth. It's a question of, can they do it when it comes down to crunch time, right? Yeah. And Evans is saying what he should be saying. Can I also point out, he actually looks a little bit old in that video. It kind of makes me feel bad. Like, I don't think I've ever seen him show his years before, because he's always looked like a really young guy, right?
Yeah.
He actually kind of looks like a 30-something dude, Yeah,
he's
not, there's nothing wrong with that. It's the first time I've ever thought, like, man, Evans is truly like towards the end of his career.
That's the problem.
Well, that's the thing, right? Is that, and I'm a fair chunk older than you, that to me, guys like Evans, like,
I got some grays growing in on the side, man. And I'm looking at Mike.
All I have is grays. All I have is grays. The few hairs I have left on my head are gray.
Not this guy. Full set of hair here. Full set of hair. Still black. Still jet black. I don't know. I see a lot of, when you fold it in the middle, I was looking at it the other day. I was washing it. I was drying it off, and I seen it in the middle. I seen some whites. I'm like, here we go.
Yeah, my hair doesn't have a middle. That's where the hair used to be.
Let's get into it, man. So, go ahead. Finish your comment.
Just final thoughts on Egbuka. I'm hopeful. I hope he's great. We'll see. Yeah. We'll see. If he ends up being a solid WR3 or a placeholder for a couple of years, that's still amazing. And that still makes you better than 99.99% of people to ever try and play football in their lives. So reserving judgment till he's played.
Jesus Torres says, so this is football.
Not Jesus, Josue.
I'm sorry. I can't. I think I need glasses now.
You've needed glasses for years, brother.
Yeah. I'm always squinting my eyes now. Is this a football only show? Yeah, I mean, it's the Frozen Pirate podcast. I mean, whatever you want to talk about, man, hit us up in the comments. More than welcome to it. We're transitioning now into Around the NFL here.
Josue, the long answer is I watch almost every sport on earth, so ask away.
Yeah, ask away. All right. Hey, the Rays are doing all right. I mean, I know they took a loss to the Red Sox yesterday, but they're doing all right. Finally. All right. I gotta ask you this. So I'm pretty intrigued with week 1 for 2 teams, the Steelers and the Jets. How ironic that Aaron Rodgers.
So beautiful. It's so beautiful.
Aaron Rodgers is going to go up against the Jets, and Justin Fields is going to go up against the Steelers. How crazy is that?
It's going to be terrible.
You think so?
Terrible. Huh? I think it's going to be the worst game of the week. I am rooting so hard
because a bias. You don't like Aaron Rodgers, because you have a new audience here. Let everybody know real quickly in 3 words how you feel about Aaron Rodgers.
Fuck the pack.
There you go. Typical Bears fan.
Yeah, you goddamn right. I will say this. I would hate Aaron Rodgers even if he never played on the Packers. He just is the kind of guy I can't stand. A pseudo-intellectual dickbag who thinks he's smart because he only talks to idiots. The flip side of it is I think I would root for Justin Fields anywhere. And this may be the first game I've ever rooted for the Jets in. That's how much respect and love I have for Justin Fields, because the Bears did everything they could to make his career worse. They could not have made his career harder. The worst
major setbacks
is the worst everything, right? And we all remember those games he had where people where he was the highlight for a week, and that's all they showed on SportsCenter was Justin Fields doing something crazy, right? He really is that guy. And how you take a guy that's that talented and go, let's give him nothing. Let's give him no coaches, no position players. Let's let the defense fall apart. Let's just make sure no matter what he does, he doesn't have a shot. That's basically what the Bears did to him. Yeah. And I have respect for Ryan Poles letting him go. Like you said, it's a new audience, so people may not be familiar with this. I am a diehard Bears fan.
If you like,
the Bears had better offers, so the Bears traded him to the Steelers for a 4th round pick. They had earlier round pick offers, and Poles went to Fields and said, "Which of these teams do you want to play for?" And they took a worse trade out of respect for Fields. So I love Poles for that. And what do I care if that had been a 3rd round? We would have fucked that up too anyway. So, but I will root for Fields anywhere. And I would my only real question is, do the Jets have a former Bears draft pick starting on their defensive line? Because you remember that the Bears ended Favre's career with a sack. Yeah. No, when he was at the Vikings. Now, remember?
That's right. Yeah.
Remember he sent that picture of his little thumb-sized dick to that lady at the Jets and got kicked out, so he had to go to the Vikings. And so,
how cool would that have been if Aaron Rodgers went to the Vikings, though? Real quickly.
I told you I wanted that. I told you I wanted that.
Right there, I would have
perfectly cyclical nature of history and time, right? So Aaron Rodgers then gets his ACL blown up by it was Leonard Floyd, right? At the
I'd have to go back and look. I think
I'm pretty sure it was Leonard Floyd, who everyone knows is pretty good D lineman for the Rams, but a lot of people don't remember is he was I think 1st round draft pick for the Bears. So what I'm hoping is that history can continue to close the circle and some former Bears player can just end Aaron Rodgers' career once and for all.
That's some strong, hateful words.
So he can fulfill his dream of being a podcaster.
Let me ask you this. If Aaron Rodgers got drafted to the Bears, say if the Bears drafted him, would you have this much hatred for him? Same personality.
Not this much. Not this much. But let me tell you something. A, he would have sucked at the Bears because that's how that goes. B, Chicago does not go for guys like this. This is not. Think of Chicago sports greats, right? You think of Michael Jordan, right? You think maybe
Sammy Sosa.
He did play for both Chicago franchises, but he was a cheater.
You a White Sox fan or you're?
I'm diehard White Sox, but Sosa also played for the White Sox.
Okay.
No, when I think Chicago baseball greats, you think from our childhood, guys like Ryan Sandberg, Sean Dunston was a great example. Blackjack McDowell at the White Sox. Carlton Fisk played most of his career at the White Sox, even though people think of him as a Red Sox player. Chicago just doesn't go for this guy who wants to tell you about every fucking drug he takes and how special that makes him. Chicago's a Midwestern city.
A Netflix series about that too, right?
Fuck! He's got everything but football practice. You remember that was one of the problems last year is that he didn't show up for the first few weeks of practice and lied to the team about it, and it turned out that he was shooting the fucking documentary thing.
Wow, that's probably why he didn't sign with any teams. I think it's just because he didn't want to do all that voluntary stuff. I think he just wants to show up and just be like, fuck it, let's do it.
No, he didn't sign with any teams because no one wanted him. And the Steelers only signed him because they couldn't get anybody else because they stupidly let Fields go after Fields played great for him last year.
Yeah, I don't know why they did what they did. I think
so what I'm hearing from people, and I'm not sure if I agree with this, is basically the Steelers did make a solid offer. The Jets just offered more. And if I'm Fields, I take the money now, right? Because you've been fucked over so hard in your career up to this point that plus it's probably fun to play in New York, even though he's in New Jersey. Let me ask you this. Did you hear what Terry Bradshaw had to say about Aaron Rodgers?
I did not, because I hear so many people saying things about him, especially.
But come on, it's Terry Bradshaw, right? He's not only an NFL legend, he's the most famous Steelers quarterback of all time.
Oh, yeah. How many concussions do you think he got in his career?
Oh boy, I'm not even sure. I'm not even sure if the concussions were an issue because I haven't seen him commentate sober in like 20 years. I
gotta say, Troy Aikman definitely smokes the devil's lettuce before every game because he is cooked.
I think Aikman's on the ganj. I think those are whiskey eyes. All right, I'm going to read you the quote. This is Terry Bradshaw in a radio interview with 103.7 The Buzz in Arkansas. Was asked about, and this was last Tuesday, so this is like right before Rodgers signed. Wait, is this last Tuesday or was this Tuesday? May 28th, so it's 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
That's a joke. That is just, to me, it's a joke. What are you going to do? Bring him in for 1 year? Are you kidding me? That guy needs to stay in California. Go somewhere, chew on bark, and whisper to the gods out there.
I'm curious to see him on Fox now.
Oh God! Oh, they gotta have Bradshaw call a Rodgers game, right? They just have to.
Yeah,
I mean, it's a halftime show, but
because I know a lot of Steelers fans are not happy about this.
Well, okay, so here's the thing, right? All bias aside, all of my hatred for Aaron Rodgers aside, what is actually the best case scenario for the Steelers here? In your mind,
they can make the playoffs. I think they can make the playoffs.
But Louis, they always make the playoffs. They make the playoffs. That's why I said that. Mason Rudolph, they make the playoffs. Yeah. That's what they do. Tomlin gets to the playoffs.
I think this is Tomlin's last year. I think this has to be Tomlin's last year. I think
they make the playoffs, and I think they fire him after they lose in the first round.
Yeah, just because it's bring up Todd Bowles. A lot of people are kind of. I talked about this. We were trying to get John Gruden on during the Tampa Expo last weekend. I guess he had to leave. I had an emergency, man. I had to go. Can't give you that juice. I can't do it.
I got to write some emails. You're not gonna like them.
But John, he's been tied with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He did the schedule release. I thought it was pretty funny that he did that.
They uncanceled him.
Yeah. I liked how he did the schedule release for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and unveiling the 50th season. This is the 50th season, man. And I was part of 8 of them. But I think he did a really good job there, and he's been winging around $1 place from what I understand. But I wouldn't be surprised, Jamie. I'm going to go ahead and say this. This is not popular. And by any means, to all the people out there who are watching the show, I greatly appreciate you guys. Don't take this the wrong way. I'm just kind of saying, if Todd Bowles loses in the first round, then it's not a home playoff game. And Leo Haggerty, shout out to him. Follow him on Amped Up Sports. He brought up a very good point. coaches don't get fired if they lose playoff games, as long as those playoff games are home games. You want to know why? Because they make money. So if the Buccaneers are not hosting a playoff
that's a good
game,
point.
if the Buccaneers are not hosting a playoff game, and Coach Bowles loses in the first round,
the Bucs are gonna. I think the Bucs will have clinched with 2, maybe 3 weeks left in the season.
Yeah, I mean, I hope so. I have him right now.
The division hasn't gotten much stronger. I think Penix is going to be great, but I don't think he's going to be great this year.
I have the Buccaneers 13-4 on paper right now. That's just on paper. That's my opinion. They look like a 13-4 type of team.
We went over this. Me, you, and Dino went over this. We talked about sort of predictions for the season.
Speaking of Dino, what's up with Scary Terry?
I don't know. I haven't been paying attention.
Is he going to is he holding out? Does he want a contract?
I literally have no idea. I've paid zero attention to that team this year. I just don't care about them.
You think they're going to replicate what they did last year?
Sophomore slide is a real thing.
Yeah.
People have had months and months and months to watch all the tape and figure out what his cheats are to get stuff done. If there's one thing we've learned over the last 15 or 20 years in the NFL is that you can't out scheme a slippery quarterback. Right. Everyone has almost a decade of film on Mahomes. No one's figured him out yet.
Yeah.
Right. He went from well, but that wasn't Mahomes they figured out. That was the O-line.
Yeah,
that was a shocking and wonderful game. I really enjoyed that. That was crazy. It held, right? They didn't blitz a single time the entire game. I know they didn't at all in the first half. I don't think they had through 3 quarters either. I don't think they blitzed once that entire game.
No, I think it was like a 5%. I think the stat was like 5%.
I'm not,
and they blitzed, not even.
No,
That's
remember
insane.
that they didn't. Hold on.
I'm pretty positive they sent a blitz.
Nope, they didn't send a single.
Really?
Blitz. It's the 4th time in the next gen stats era that a team has not blitzed in a Super Bowl game. I'm surprised that there have been 4.
What goes into that game plan? That's balls right there, dude. Hey,
who's their DC? Fangio?
Yeah. Hey, we're not fucking blitzing. What? We're not blitzing once. What? We're not going to blitz them once.
Yeah, from an offensive standpoint,
that's crazy.
How do you make your second half adjustments? Because you're thinking, yeah, but they're going to blitz now, right? They've been faking us out. And you're just waiting for it, and it just never comes.
Yeah.
And look, it'd be one thing if these were all coverage sacks or like really brilliant schemes, and there were some really great secondary schemes, but they were getting to Mahomes fast, like over and over and over again.
Like Leo likes to say, man, quarterback hates color in his face. Doesn't like that, and it disrupts everything. And this is why I say Haason Reddick to the Buccaneers is huge, because now it elevates everybody else. This is I keep comparing it to the 2003-2004 Patriots. What's one thing that held the Patriots back from running it again to go to the Super Bowl? A running game. Who did they go out and go get? Corey Dillon. And
I forgot about Corey Dillon.
Yeah, you forgot about that. Corey Dillon came to the Patriots. I think it was 04-05 season, I want to say. Yeah, because they played the Panthers in 2003, 2004. So 2004-2005 season. Yeah. Corey Dillon came to the Patriots, and the rest was history. They lacked the running game. They needed to run the football. Kevin Falk was still there, I remember. But yeah, that was one player away makes a difference. Look at the Philadelphia Eagles, Saquon Barkley. One player away can do a lot. That's why I said I think the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I have a funny feeling, man. I kind of have Super Bowl vibes a little bit, but I mean, my expectations of the NFC Championship, this team is only going to go as far as where the offensive line, I think this is the most important thing, is the offensive line, if they can stay healthy, is going to take this team. Because in all reality, man, a lot of, I will say, players tend to play very well when it's a contract year. Rashad White, I don't know.
Oh
if
yeah,
you've seen.
yeah. We talk about this all the time. That
He's
there's
looked
nothing
good.
scarier than the guy right after he got the contract, right? Because his last year's stats look fucking incredible.
Yeah,
And there are very few guys that play. There are very few guys who do what Saquon did last year, that come their first year of a monster contract, even though they know they're set, they know they're good, you know, because they have to find a second internal gear that drives them.
Madden cover boy, man.
I mean, what a season. And let's get a big shout out to me for keeping him on my fantasy team through all the injuries, got him as a rookie, kept him through 2.5 years of missed seasons.
Oof.
Big shout out to Jamie. Smart fantasy football.
Smart
Still didn't win the season, but you know.
Still, he probably racked up some decent points. I think
you know who I lost to? I lost to Stan in the finals. The legendary Stan, who I sent the link to. I'm not sure if he's watching.
I don't see him in the comments. But yeah, I mean, this is going to be a pretty good training camp for the Bucs. I'm looking forward to seeing that. Big thing coming up in December. I will be flying down to Tampa. So the Sports Web officially is going to be doing all the interviews with the players and stuff like that. From what Peter's been telling me, it was a good success last week. So they're going to be putting on, I believe it's going to be at the fairgrounds again. I'm not 100% sure, but they're going to be doing another expo, Tampa Sports Expo, which is really, really cool. And the Sports Web is going to be hosting it. Well, not hosting it, but we're going to be there. Flying down
credentialed attendees.
Yeah, I'm going to fly down for that. Hopefully, I get to talk to some players. We'll get some players on. Hopefully, Gruden's there, man. Because, like I said, I got a question for him. How dare you?
me too. Can I send some to you?
Got to be PG, man. How dare you, John? What the hell, John? How do you get rid of Mike? How do you get rid of Warren Sapp and John Lynch in the same year? How do you do that, man? I'd like to know. No, I'm not going to ask him that. I'm going to ask him a couple different questions. If he's there.
Will you ask him if Caleb is one of Gruden's grinders?
Gruden's grinders. I'll tell you what, Gruden knows football, dude. He's good. He just
I'm not sure that's true.
Nah, he knows ball.
He knows more than I do. There's no question of that.
I'll tell you what,
made a career out of it. I'm just an asshole who talks on a podcast here and there.
I'll tell you what, though. I think he's pretty good. I had a long vendetta against him for what he did to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers franchise. But in all reality, again, like Brady, he brought the Bucs a championship ring. Yeah, he won it with Dungy's defense. But like everybody said,
look, what stat do I always go to? Anytime Gruden has coached a team, his best year is his first, and the team just disintegrates under his leadership.
Yeah.
I think it'd be great for you to talk to him. I don't want to get in the way of that. I think that'd be very cool. And I think if you do talk to him, you should be totally respectful and not repeat any of the whiny bullshit that I say, because
no,
it's sport and complaining about someone doesn't matter.
Yeah, I got a couple of questions to ask him. But like I said, I'd be interested to see what would happen with Baker Mayfield as a quarterback for him. What he would do with this type of offense. Because like I said, if the Buccaneers don't get past the first round,
well, history shows that he would destroy them and then get rid of their best players. But
maybe get a Super Bowl first. No, I don't think he would do that. I mean, like I said, that's
the one time.
It's not going to happen. But
the thing is, he can only do it with a coach who almost got there.
Yeah. Well, he won it with Dungy's defense, but they would have never won that Super Bowl without his offense.
Right, but Bowles has a ring, right? So
that's right. Yeah, I mean,
I don't think it. I mean, I know.
Like I said, I'm not calling for Bowles to get fired. I'm not saying that. I don't want Buck fans.
No, we talk about this every offseason, and we go back and forth. You always start to lean a little bit towards, well, maybe, but then you always end with, no, he shouldn't be fired. And after last season, dude, that was a good run with those injuries.
Yeah.
You know, not just Evans and Godwin, but I mean, they had.
I give Baker a lot of credit for doing what
Baker
he
had a monster season.
Yeah.
He had a monster season.
I think, like I said,
I made fun of you a lot for talking about him being in the MVP conversation, because he shouldn't be in the MVP conversation compared to the seasons that those other guys had. However, there are a lot of years where that would have been an MVP season.
Yeah.
It's just that there were other guys having such freak years. Lamar Jackson and Saquon and Josh Allen both had just
That's my Super
unbelievable
Bowl
years.
prediction right there, bud.
You think it's going to be
Ravens, Buccaneers?
Oh yeah,
My
that's
Super Bowl pick.
what a turnaround. Should I pull up Louis' predictions from year before last about Lamar Jackson?
We'll save that for another time.
Wait, hold on. Is this going to be the first podcast we've ever done together where I don't do a reading of Louis' predictions? I say yes. I officially predict that I won't read them tonight.
There you go. Yeah, a lot of cool stuff. I will say this. I think there's going to be some sophomore slumps for some quarterbacks out there. I think Jaden Daniels, I don't think he's going to regress. I think he may take a step back because that's a lot
Those
of
are synonyms.
Yeah, a lot of people are saying things about the Cowboys, but say what you want, man. I still wouldn't count them out. And
I'm
you still have
them out. I'm counting them
you
out.
still have the Eagles in that division.
I think it's going to be Eagles, then Commanders.
Yeah, that's a
then
tough division.
Cowboys and Giants are going to fight for last place.
We'll see. But
Cowboys are one of those teams that until Jerry Jones is gone, they're just never going to do it again.
And then
it is what it is.
And then you have the Bears. JJ McCartney, man, it's been making some really good throws. I've been watching
McCarthy.
I know.
No end.
I've been watching because I actually like that kid when he came out. I think
it's going to be a really, really interesting division this year. I could not confidently predict who's going to be top and who's going to be bottom.
A tough division.
If I had to absolutely guess who's going to be at the bottom, I'd say probably the Bears, just because that's what history says.
No, I think it's going to be between you guys. It's going to be early on. So I don't know if you've seen the schedules, the way they've done it this year.
It's very, very different than last year. Because remember, no NFC North team played each other in the first 10 weeks of the season last year. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's tough. Now, like us, we don't play the Carolina Panthers until week 16 and I think week 18. That's crazy.
That's a great way to end the season for you guys because I think they're going to be better, but I think that's 2 W's.
I think they're going to split the series.
Yeah, you said that. You said you've been predicting that for a while.
I think Canales is onto something there, and I think
I will say, of all the Louis predictions, I'm not going to read it out, but you've been wrong on all of them. The one you were closest on was Panthers don't finish bottom. You were 1 game off.
Yeah. Like I said, I think Canales is doing a good job over there. But the NFC North, man, that division's tough, man, because you got the Vikings. A lot of people count out the Detroit Lions. I wouldn't count them out just yet, but it is a death blow. It is a kick in the dick, man, when you lose your offensive coordinator and defensive coordinator. The Jets, I think, are going to be improved this year. I still think they finished last, but I think under the helm of Aaron Glenn, Coach Glenn, I think he's going to have those guys disciplined. He's having them do some Bible study too. That's insane. That's discipline there. Good evening, gentlemen. Christopher O'Reilly. How's it going, man? Glad you can join us. We've been doing some so to all the viewers out there, we do this segment called Around the NFL. This is we're gonna start doing this probably on the back end of because we're gonna do Bucs heavy talk in the beginning and then Around the NFL because it's starting to heat up again. The season's starting to heat up. A lot going on. We're just kind of shooting shit about
we're a month and a half out from the true fun.
Yeah.
But you're right, the lull is over.
Yeah, the wait is it's here now. Now mandatory mini camps have started. They're going to take a couple of weeks off until they get back. It's good to see something. Get to see your rookies, what they got. But going back to the NFC North,
now is the time when we start overreacting to guys making really good catches with no pads and
like Tez Johnson, he made a hell of a catch. He's the smallest player in the NFL, I believe. The Buccaneers, how ironic. I actually wanted to get your comment about that. The Buccaneers drafted the biggest player and the smallest player of all time in this year's draft. How ironic.
165 pounds. That's pretty small. He's 5'10". He's not this 5'10", 165. That's let me check actually. Jamie.
Desmond Watson is a big boy.
Yeah.
So what do?
Oh, they had so they're showing him at 165 now, but I believe
like
his draft weight was
154.
154.
Yeah,
dude. That was my fight weight when I boxed, and that was like me. Now I'm 6 foot, but still, that was me like having to keep my weight down for years. I ate 12 to 1400 calories a day for like 3 years. You're right, though. We need to talk about Desmond Watson because just fucking look at this guy.
big boy, man. I mean, he's not going to be on every down, in my opinion. He's not going to be on every down.
No, for every down he plays, you got to eat 2 meals.
15 snaps, 15, 20 snaps tops. I mean, he's basically more of a red zone, plugging up the hole, defending the tush push when it comes to Tampa. And, the Eagles are not going to like that game. That's going to be hot. That's going to be very hot.
Do you know that when he's one of 6 children and he was the lightest of all 6 born?
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. That's insane. Jamie with the facts, man. Jamie with
high school, he weighed 375 pounds.
That's insane. I mean, I don't. They're talking about getting him down more. I don't want to see him get down in weight. I think 400 pounds or just under 400 pounds. You don't want to completely take away from this guy and what he can do. And a lot of people are complaining, oh, can he play in the heat? He played for the Florida Gators.
Played for Florida. How many games did he miss?
Not
one.
I don't think not one. Yeah. So I mean, and I called for him. I said if he's there, let's take him. And they winded up getting him as an unrestricted rookie free agent, as well as Shiloh Sanders, who I'm very high on. I like what he brings.
Can I make an official prediction? I'm going to write it down in the predictions.
Sure.
All right. What's today? Today is June 12th, 6/12. Jamie says Watson will rush the ball at least once this season.
I could see that. Him and Vita Vea lining up, running back and fullback.
No, I think they do a split back because it's like,
so?
which
running back a little bit. Both of them did.
But think about it. Which side are you cheating on to stop him? If you got Vea on the left and Watson on the right?
Yeah. Have you seen him tackle running backs?
Watson?
Yeah.
Well, the play he's famous for was Baylor? No, it was the quarterback from Tulane. It's 3rd and 2. The guy goes to rush it, and Watson just picks him up. They had to blow the whistle. He didn't even slam him down. He just got him held up in the air, and they finally called the play dead because he's just holding him up in the air.
Yeah, he's so.
I mean, he's not just big; he is strong as hell.
Yeah. So he was at the Tampa Expo, and I'm producing the show for Peter, and then we're having a conversation. And all of a sudden, I see Big Desmond Watson go next to the boss, Peter. And I'm like, holy shit. And then he had something to do. I told Peter Blake, I'm like, Peter, that fucking guy makes you look like a fucking preschooler. Like, holy shit. He goes, dude, he's big. That's a big man. The Great Wall of Tampa, when Vita Vea and Desmond Watson are fucking on the field, the Great Wall of Tampa, that's their name. The Great Wall of Tampa. Let's see if you can get by that, because that's going to be interesting. Vita Vea and him on the same line. I'm curious to see that.
What's Watson's nickname going to be? I have a proposal.
I don't know. I mean, so JP Peterson on his show has brought up, what are we going to name this fucking front four? You know, you have Yaya Diaby, you have Haason Reddick, Watson, and Vita Vea.
Oh, well, the group name is easy. Call them the Fast and the Furious, because you got a good mix, right?
The Fast and Furious.
But here's my proposal for Watson's nickname: the Freezer.
The Freezer?
Right?
Nah, you can't do that.
Because he's the spiritual successor to the fridge, right?
The Freezer. Yeah,
right?
You know what? You're on something there. Okay, the Freezer. There you go. Let's make that trend, guys. Hashtag the Freezer. Yeah, okay. I see what you did there. I'll put something up on that. I like that. The Freezer, the spiritual successor of the fridge. That's good. That's got a good humor to it as well. I like that.
Well, and also, you know, the fridge, for all the jokes and all that stuff over the years, was very well respected. Passed away recently. Chicago legend. Former teammates all came to see him as he was getting towards the end of his life. We all remember him. Actually, this goes right to what I was saying with Watson. We all remember him. They just threw him out there. No one was doing it at the time. They're like, hey,
no,
you're rushing the ball this play.
Yeah.
It was like 3rd and goal in the 2-yard line.
Patriots, yeah. Yeah, I remember that Super Bowl. That was the Super Bowl you guys won.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Speaking of the Patriots, I think that kid Drake May is gonna have a phenomenal year this year.
I meant to ask you actually, because you've been high on him for a long time.
Yeah.
Apparently, he's having a really good camp so far.
If you get a chance, Jamie, if you get a chance, I want you to go because I'm trying to get credentialed for the Patriots. We're going to be launching the 508 podcast, and we're going to be covering the team. So, and I tell the Buck audience, it's nothing personal. It's just Gillette Stadium's 35 minutes up the road from me. So that's the way I get my foot in the door with certain things. But if you get a chance, Jamie, I'll send you the link. Well, if you want to look it up on YouTube, go watch. It's Patriots media team put it together. It's called Forged in Foxborough. And you get an in-depth look on Mike Vrabel and what he's doing. I encourage you to watch it. Like I've
always liked Vrabel.
Even if you watch,
you and I have butted heads about this because you didn't like them bringing
I didn't
Vrabel,
like
and you said they were stuck in the past. And listen, the reason I like Vrabel is not necessarily a good football reason. I like Vrabel because he feels like a Chicago guy, right? Hard nosed, no nonsense, discipline. Shut the fuck up. I don't care about your feelings. Get the job done.
Right.
And there's so much of that lacking, not just in sports, but in society in general right now. And to see somebody come in with that attitude, and obviously things didn't end up going the way they wanted to in the end down in Tennessee, but he did a pretty good job down there for a team that had been mired in mediocrity for a long, long time. And, he had some situations that, they never had a great quarterback. They never had, they were missing a lot of pieces. Right. And he made it work with a smash mouth mentality.
Yeah. I encourage even Buck fans, man. I encourage to go watch that. I mean, Vrabel, what they did in free agency secretly, like they secretly had a very good free agency. They had a very good draft. That offensive lineman that they took, he straight up said, "I'll kill you for my quarterback." When I seen that, I was just like, okay.
Yeah, man. I saw that. I like that a lot.
Yeah. So, I mean, he's going to be, he's their Tristan Wirfs, man. He's going to anchor that line. And, unfortunately, Stephon Diggs, I don't know what you're doing with that leadership, buddy.
But I'll tell you what, that is the right coach. Do you see? Because Vrabel didn't hide from it. He didn't say, "Oh, we'll see." He goes, "Yeah, I saw it, and I'm very concerned." Yeah, he didn't try and bullshit. He didn't try and give a political answer. Oh, they can do what they want in the offseason. I don't know what was in the bag. Yeah. He basically said, like, "Yeah."
What do they call that stuff they were sniffing on? Tootsie or whatever the hell it's called?
Yeah, cocaine.
It's just it's like purple cocaine now. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I mean, you can give it a cute name, rebrand it, dye it a certain color.
It was like purple and green, though.
Yeah, look, blow is blow. The best part about that, you know who hosted that party?
Cardi B, right?
His fucking girlfriend.
Yeah. Wow.
Beautiful.
Yeah, not a good crowd to be around, buddy. Especially not playing in Foxborough. You're not doing that stuff.
Yeah.
You see,
that is not the right ownership group to think you and me. Go play for Dallas if you want to do shit like that.
I'm sure Jerry would have joined you.
Jerry will be there with you. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Call me daddy too.
Big, his penis size is 9 3/4. So come on, Stephon.
That's what it felt like in my throat.
Yeah.
I should have made that joke. Oh boy.
You can't do that.
All right.
Anyways, but yeah, man, I expect the Patriots to have a much better team. I actually predict them finishing in second place in that division.
It's an interesting division.
Yeah. I mean, it's the Bills. It's the Bills.
It's the Bills and whoever else.
Speaking of Bills, I'm driving up there. I'm going to take that lovely Escalade to Buffalo when the Buccaneers go play the Buffalo Bills.
I will tell you some places to go to. Obviously, you had that phenomenal trip with the boys up there a couple of years ago. What a great city to watch a game in. We went middle of December, so it was a little chilly.
Should I wear a sweatshirt, or you think a nice long sleeve?
I'll tell you, as a Chicagoan, the weather in Buffalo is no fucking joke, man.
I know.
It is no joke. It was awesome. It was fun, but I couldn't feel any part of my body by the third quarter.
Yeah, get some heat warmers, hand warmers, and
the best way to do that is bring 2 bottles of Jaeger to the pregame.
Nope, no thanks. Can't do Jaeger.
Oh, you don't gotta drink
Bullet
it.
bourbon, baby.
You give it to them. So I don't think I've told you which game we're going to this year.
Where you going?
Bears at Bengals. I'm going to Cincy, baby.
Oh, Cincy, nice. So I got on the agenda, I got Buffalo and Buccaneers. Then I have Patriots, Buccaneers. And then I'm going to fly down for the Tampa Expo to interview some Buck players, hopefully, be a part of that. And I'm going to stay probably a week and a half. The wife will join me. So I'm going out there, I think, for the weekend by myself. It's specifically just to work.
Oh,
and then
just don't get pregnant.
No. And then I think I'll pick her up Monday from the airport. And then that's going to be my birthday week. They're going to play the Atlanta Falcons Thursday night, December 11th on my birthday in Tampa. So that's going to be a good week.
It's a good city to be in on December 11th.
Yeah. That's going to be fun.
A lot better than Fall River.
Oh, yeah. I'll tell you that. But yeah, man, going back to the Patriots, if I'm the New England Patriots right now, wide receiver, they need some help at wide receiver. A guy that's kind of underwhelmed here in Tampa. Trey Palmer is on the trade block, from what I understand. If I am the New England Patriots, I mean, I would take a 6th-round pick for Trey. I think that's where they picked him.
Yeah, I think that's fair. And plus, I think anyone giving a 5th, that's a mistake. That you don't give up. He just hasn't quite panned out, and that's fine. And get what you can for him. He'll probably be a role player for the next few years in the NFL. He's probably not going to start anywhere consistently. Maybe he has a future on special teams, but
hasn't panned out.
It's kind of what I was alluding to with the Emeka Egbuka thing, and obviously, different levels of base talent and athleticism.
Those
and
kids
background.
from Ohio State are pro ready, man.
Yeah, absolutely. But just tell Justin Fields. But I don't have sort of that anticipatory hope for the next big wide receiver, the Buccaneers, because we're now on the 3rd in a row, right? That is just kind of like, okay.
Well, McMillan did really good his rookie year. 8 touchdowns, tied with Randy Moss. Came on.
Who was the guy? Who was the guy? He was your 4th or 5th wide receiver who had really, really good end of season and early playoffs.
Sterling Shepard. He was all right.
Actually, you know what? I might be thinking of the Commanders guy. Hold on.
Probably thinking of Commanders. But we lacked wide receiver depth, man, big time. But it was probably the Commanders, bud.
It was, and I think he actually signed with the Bears this year.
The Bears. So, what are you looking forward to from the Bears, man? I mean, Caleb Williams is in a very good situation. I think we're gonna start to see. I don't know. There's a change coming in the NFL. You have young talent like Drake May. You have Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels. It's turning into a new situation here of quarterbacks. Not situation. What's the word I'm looking for? New era of quarterbacks. Yeah, new era of quarterbacks. And Shador Sanders, does he get to start? All interesting stuff.
No. Not out of the gate, at least. At some point, he probably will. But I'll tell you what I'm excited for the Bears. I'm excited for the same thing every Bears fan is excited for, which is the offensive line. I'm really excited to see. We've never built an O-line this way, right? We've had a couple great O-lines, and weirdly, the 2 times in the past we had great O-lines, we won a Super Bowl, and then 20 years later we went to a Super Bowl.
Yeah,
right, with Olin Kreutz and all those guys in the early 2000s. So I'm excited. I'm nervous because you can bring in a bunch of guys who've been very good elsewhere, but as we've talked about for years now on this show, can the O-line play together? You can't just throw 5 very talented guys on an O-line and go, now you're a good O-line, right? They need reps. They need a year plus of playing together. And in the current era of the way that free agency works, like, Tooney's what, 31, 32? Yeah. Now we gave him an extension. I was glad we did that. This will be the first truly talented center we've had since Olin Kreutz. So it's been almost 20 years. I'm very excited for that. And honestly, like even if they're not the best O-line in football, just being better than last year so we can truly evaluate, is Caleb that good? The other thing is going to be, what can Ben Johnson draw up? We grabbed that Colston Loveland kid, which that shocked the shit out of me because Cole Kmet's been very, very good.
Yeah. Well, you can't go wrong with 2 tight ends, man.
Right, but it's not like we weren't
Taking
lacking in other positions.
Well, you're taking the place of Keenan Allen because you lost Keenan Allen, but in all reality, a quarterback's best.
Well,
friend.
no, but we grabbed that. We grabbed that.
Poor choice of words.
Luther Burden guy.
Yeah.
So I think we're gonna have a great wide receiver room. I'll be really curious. So here's what I'll say: why I brought up the Colston Loveland thing in the vein of being excited to see what Ben Johnson does. 2 tight end sets, right? What made his offense so lethal at the Lions? Right, is that you've got a guy that can block and can catch, and it loosens up the defensive scheme, right? I think you're going to see a Dunze getting open in different ways. Moore is always going to produce.
Right.
He's not at Evans level, but he's a little bit like Evans, that like he's never needed a phenomenal QB to produce.
Right.
He produces no matter what. But I think Dunze is the kind of guy who loves to just tear it up the sideline. And when you've got a guy like Colston Loveland who's going to play a little bit more of the like TJ Hawkinson style role, that starts to fuck defense up a lot because he's not the kind of guy that an inside linebacker can cover. He's just not.
Right. We'll see what happens, man. I mean, like I said, I'm excited for this season. I'll wrap it up here with final thoughts. I'm very excited for the preseason. I really am. I know a lot of people don't like watching those games. I love watching those games. I love going in there and watching the all 22 for those games because
they're super fun.
It shows a lot of where your team is at depth wise, And I don't know if you remember me telling you this, Jamie. I said it, and I said it early on with Leo. I said I was a little nervous last year. I thought we had a lot of depth, and then I watched that final game of the preseason, and I said that I'm not. I think the offense is really going to carry this defense because I think it's going to take a little time for this defense together because I don't really see anybody that's kind of like wowing me outside of Sean Tucker, but that's on the offense. And look what he did. And I was right. I love watching the preseason. I love watching the all 22 for that because it shows you where your team is at depth wise, and a lot of guys are battling for roster position. So for me, that's key. Jamie, any final words, buddy?
Well, just to piggyback on what you said, the biggest mistake you've ever made in this podcast is sometimes you sing a player's praises, you talk about what they're going to be, but you don't make an official prediction. And you were higher on Bucky Irvin than anyone else in Buccaneers fandom by a country mile, but you didn't make any predictions. You would have looked like an oracle, a prophet of the future. If you had just made some predictions on what his production numbers were going to be.
I didn't think he was gonna get like the nod that he did.
But like from the minute they drafted him, you were all in, and you were 100% right about him.
That was a steal.
And we talked about it. We talked about it for weeks, right? And I was like, we'll see. Totally blew my mind the amount of production he put up. My final thoughts are, I'm excited. I'm going to kind of keep my head down and not watch too much over the next couple months until we start to get the preseason games. Because what do I say every podcast, right? Bears are the perennial offseason champions. The Bears win every offseason.
Right.
It's once it's time to play football that they start to get exposed. So I cautiously optimistic, would love to see us finish second.
I got to get you on with Harry the Greek, man.
Yeah, I want to meet him. I watched some of his stuff. The guy really knows what he's talking. He knows a lot more than I do. That's for sure.
Yeah, I want to get you guys on. I'm going to see if I can arrange that and see if we get a good show going with you and Harry. I'd be curious to see that.
Louis, can you guess my final thought?
Oh, of course. Fuck the pack.
Well, it's got go Bears. Fuck the pack.
I won't say that. I say go Bucs, fire those cannons. But with all that being said, guys, thank you. Thank you for everybody who commented on the show. Again, I appreciate you guys. 1,300 views last week of the Frozen Pirate podcast. That is like, I'm blown away by that. It's to me, like shout out to Peter, shout out to SportsWeb for giving me this platform, this opportunity. But you guys, again, can't thank you guys enough for making this kid out of Massachusetts dream come true. Greatly appreciate it. And I'm going to continue to give you guys the best insight possible. Again, I work with some of the best people in the game when it comes to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I have some great co-hosts. As you guys met, Jamie, he's going to be coming on for Around the NFL. It's always a fun time. Again, go like and subscribe to the YouTube channel, the Frozen Pirate Podcast. Friend me on Facebook for all the latest Buccaneer stuff. Also, Instagram, Twitter /X, the Frozen Pirate Podcast. Hey guys, again, great show. Appreciate every single one of you. Go Bucs. Fuck the Saints. Fire the cannons. Let's go.